This and all episodes of the podcast have been brought to you by our generous patrons over at Patreon, the DayZ podcast. If you're interested in finding out more about how you can support the show each week, then please click the link in the description down below to find out more information about Patreon, the DayZ podcast. Thank you for your support. And this episode of the DayZ podcast is brought to you by our generous supporters over at patreon.com/878survivorfm. Our two $10 supporters, ScaleSpeeder Gaming and Dick Donovan, and our $25 supporters, Jake Snow and Eric Johnson. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we hope you enjoy this episode of the DayZ podcast. 2, 1. And welcome to episode 61 of the DayZ podcast. And no, we do not have DTB Gaming back on. We are joined today by Marks once again. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good as usual. Hope you're all doing well.
Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. And ScaleSpeeder Gaming. Finally, we get you on, buddy. How you doing?
Very well. You can call me Rob, by the way.
It's kind of weird with gamer tags. You know, once you get used to them, I've got probably one of them. Marks, is that actually your real first name, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
unique. Yeah.
You're up there with me, mate. Where very boring and unimaginative names. But I wonder if Don Sibley, if that's his actual real name, Don Sibley.
That's what I always thought it was. But
yeah.
it mightn't be.
How can we prove it?
I don't know. We're gonna have to. We need to look into this one. Speaking of Don Sibley, I love the fact that you have his picture hanging on your wall there. Is he like a god you worship or something there, ScaleSpeeder?
He's a hero of mine. Has been for a long time.
He's a fucking top bloke, isn't he?
I need to be able to look into his eyes every now and again when I'm feeling a bit low, and it just pulls me through.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. That's awesome. Mate, it is great to finally have you on the show. For those who have watched a lot of the podcasts, I'll know that when Brim stepped back, I actually reached out to both you and Marks, and if both of you had said yes, it would have been a 3-person podcast. But yeah, we're lucky that you can actually have the time, because I know you're quite often in chat, but you're not always free around this time, are you, buddy?
That's true. That's true. Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's an honour to come on and share some time with you guys.
Honestly,
I love what you guys do. It's fantastic.
Honestly, mate, it's an honour for me that the show is still going and that people want to be on. You know, Marks was more than happy to step in, and you were honoured that I asked you, and just the calibre of guests we get on the show. It's always amazing to me, Marks. That people enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's great that it's still going along, and it's nice to have something that all the community can gather around on a Saturday and watch and give input and so forth.
Even those who listen to the podcast later, and when I get around to uploading them and stuff like that, it's amazing the amount of love for the show out there. It really does make me feel like it's all worthwhile doing it.
Well, one thing I'd say is that, I mean, being an older fella like you, Boydie, I've been listening to podcasts for many years, like starting off with like Leo Laporte and stuff like that, when podcasting first started off. And one of the things that makes a really good podcast is the quality of guests you have on, obviously, and then the questioning you guys do. And you guys have had some really great DayZ guests on. Fantastic people on that. They're almost like historical documents, some of the podcasts that people look back on and go, that was part of DayZ. And you should always remember that. It's really important what you guys do. It's really entertaining, and it's really, really good work. So well done.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Now, enough blowing wind up our own arse here. We're here to talk about you, ScaleSpeeder. Mate, you have got one of the most fascinating YouTube channels, I think. For the range of stuff that you cover on your YouTube channel, it blows my mind, mate.
Yeah. I really like playing video games, and I really like recording videos for YouTube. So I guess with those two combination of things, it kind of it's created this beast that I've got to feed with many videos all the time. What do you want to know?
How long have you had your channel going for?
So I started off on YouTube way back back in 2007, I think. Something. Let me have a look. I did write it all down, didn't I? Because originally the idea was to do with just using YouTube to host to host videos, because if you wanted to have a website and you wanted to have a video on it, it was very expensive to put a video onto the website, to pay for all the streaming and all the bandwidth. But if you went to YouTube, you could embed it from YouTube. And originally that's how I started off, because I used to do these little tech websites. And that was back in the day when YouTube was limited to 10 minutes. So you had to make these little videos that you could then embed. And I made a few videos. And I didn't really think of anything about YouTube, didn't watch YouTube or anything, and went back to the channel a few years later and saw it had all these views. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe we can do something with this. So my other passion really is...
So you basically started a YouTube channel and then just forgot all about it, and then went back and went, oh, hang about, people like this.
Yeah. And then... So my other passion really was photography, and kind of tech stuff, and so I've just made loads of tutorials about photography and film, getting film cameras at car boot sales, secondhand sales, and learning about them and making lots of tutorials about it, which I really enjoyed doing, and that channel kind of grew to. I haven't really touched it for a couple of years now. It got to about 20,000 subs, but then I kind of got back into gaming when my son gave me his Xbox 360 after we gave him a Xbox One, and then fairly quickly I thought, right, I wouldn't mind doing some gaming videos, and I started off just with a video camera recording the telly. I've never published those videos, but I've still got them. And then I was talking to Marks earlier before I kind of pestered a load of tech companies for capture gear, and I got a Ava Media capture card off Ava Media, which I could then use to capture Xbox 360 video, which I then started doing Call of Duty videos, Advanced Warfare stuff, and making these grand ideas of making these tutorials, even though I knew nothing about what I was doing, and I guess nothing changes really. It just went on from there, and then occasionally what happens is you kind of you hit. It's a bit. I think it's kind of a bit like surfing, I guess, in the fact that you've got this wave of interest about, say, a particular game or a particular subject, and if you can make the right videos at the right time, you can kind of catch the wave, and then you get a load of views and a load of extra subs, and that kind of grows your channel a bit. And then the next wave of interest for another game or another mode or something will come in, and if you're lucky enough to catch it, and I've been very, very lucky with some Call of Duty videos and DayZ videos and Battlefield videos and PUBG videos that have caught a bit of interest. But the other thing I kind of believe in is the idea of always trying to answer a question, and no matter how small the question is, if there's a question you've got that you can solve or you want to solve, no matter how tiny it is, answer that question, because somebody out there is going to look for it on Google, not necessarily YouTube, and then they'll get to watch your video about it. And that's what my channel really is. It's like 3,500 videos of small questions, mostly that get a few thousand views a month, or a few hundred views a month, and it kind of adds up. And then there's a few videos that get an awful lot of views. That kind of go that way. So, and I love doing it. I love making videos. I can't help it. If I get an idea,
tell you do, mate. Your upload rate is phenomenal.
Yeah. So quality isn't great, but there's lots of quantity, which kind of is the way I do it.
No, they're very helpful videos. Like I was saying before, the show started. I needed to make a server. Just on my PC, just for mod showcase videos and stuff, and ScaleSpeeder had videos up there, and it was able to help me within 2 of the videos. I was up and running, and off I went from there. So and it's even other server related questions I had with how to install a certain mod or do this or that, and I've looked, and you've had most of the answers there in video form, and it was great. And it just helps a lot. It's always a lot easier following a video, I find personally, than having to read everything.
Yeah,
it
but
just confuses me.
what I found, sorry, but what I found was, especially with DayZ, there's so much information, or there was so much information out there, like from about 2014 and 2015, like pre 0.63 or whatever it is, you know, and a lot of it is hidden away in Reddit posts and in text things. And when console DayZ came out, and then we had the private servers on console, and then we could do the XML modding, you would go online and you would try and find out how to do something, and you'd be like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Why has nobody done stuff about it? And so the likes of, me, Don, and that lot really started, even though a lot of my DayZ videos, trust me, the early ones and quite a few of the ones, didn't really know what I was talking about, making so many mistakes in them, telling people how to do stuff, when in reality there's errors in there, because the information just wasn't out there. And I know you guys have talked about it in the past as well, that sometimes you kind of get this the people that know what they're talking about aren't always that willing to share the really basic information about it. Like I don't like to use the term dummies guides, but there's a reason why those books are bestsellers. It's because people, really want, one, do this, two, turn the button on, stuff like that. And you always get stuck on the really easy things, don't you? And you go, well, how do you do that? So I try and go, answer those sorts of questions as well.
No, it's a great thing to do, isn't it, Marks?
Yeah, it is. That's what I like about him. They're just easy or simple as you can make him. No complicated wording or anything. It's just do this, and it'll work. And every time I followed a video, it's worked perfectly. So
yeah, I mean, Don
is doing the job.
Don's the master of that as well.
Yeah.
He's really good because he when I do an instructional video, I just turn on OBS to record the screen, and I just waffle on, where he does all the zooming in and does all the cuts and stuff like makes him look really cool. So.
The dude painted a whole fucking room in his house green. There's not many people who have got the same level of passion for making videos as he does.
Good man, very very good, very very good.
He is. So you pretty much cover a wide range of games, like you've mentioned, mate. Which one stands out to you as one of your favourite games of all time?
Oh, right, okay. I guess for me, if it's a multiplayer respawn game, it would have to be like Battlefield 1. I think is probably one of the greatest respawn games of all time. Fantastic Battlefield game. So much thought went into that game in terms, it looks great, it plays great, but also the attitude of the developers and the way they treated the subject as well. I think there's a lot of a thought went into it, and a lot of consideration for World War One in Battlefield 1 as well. True. I mean, it's a game, obviously, and that sort of stuff, but they kind of got the balance between millions of people died in this war, and it was absolutely terrible, but the individual stories of heroism for those soldiers and in that war were still, important, and there's still stories that should be told. Because we tend to be with World War One, we tend to write a lot. Oh, it was such a waste of life, wasn't it? Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. When which it was, obviously, because it was a war. But people, there was definitely stories that need to be told. So, Battlefield 1 definitely. PUBG, I think, is in terms of non-respawn shooters. I think PUBG is unsurpassed as.
It gets a lot of hate. It gets a lot of hate, and I understand some of it. They're money grubbing policy does turn people off a little bit, but at the same time, you can't deny that they've continued to support the game. They've made some questionable decisions. I don't play it a lot these days. I was never that good at it, but I still love watching it. I'm totally with you that it is one of the best. I think it's the best battle royale game.
Yeah, I think PUBG is still quite unique in the physical reaction that you can get, emotional and physical from winning like a chicken dinner in PUBG, because it's so hard to do. If you're not a Shroud
level PvPer, it is hard to do.
I think I made one or two games in my entire PUBG career.
Really?
I think so. I didn't play it much. I wasn't like this person who was just grinding that. I haven't played it since it came out of alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was the
Yeah.
last time I played it, and like I'd watch Shroud play it every single day until he stopped playing it, and then I haven't looked at it since. I always said I'd go back to it, but I just
It's
I mean,
still
PUBG
got a massive player base, and that says a lot about the quality of the game, ScaleSpeeder. That whilst a lot of YouTubers, the big names, have abandoned the game, their PGIS tournament they just had, the prize pool for that was fucking insane. Millions and millions of dollars.
Absolutely. I mean, it plays better than it ever has, especially on console. It is very, very smooth, plays very, very well. One of the big problems with PUBG is when Brendan Green left, stopped being the sort of creative director behind it, that kind of darker feel of the game has slowly been pushed to one side in the stuff around the game. The game's still like that, but in things like the skins, they've just had the pajama party skins and things like that. And it's not really a part of the feeling that most people want from PUBG. But as I was saying, that adrenaline buzz you get from winning like a solo chicken dinner. I mean, I've put in hundreds and hundreds of hours in PUBG on Xbox and PlayStation, a little bit on PC, and I've won well over 100 chicken dinners. So I've been there and I've kind of done it, and solo ones, quite a lot of those as well. But when you get into that top 10 situation, that top 5 situation, your hands start to shake. You get the sweat. You get that physical adrenaline rush. You kind of get in DayZ when you're in a situation when you say you're in a town and you hear somebody's voice. What's going to happen next. But the real magic of PUBG, I think, is that you don't have to be Shroud to win a chicken dinner. If you play enough, there will be a circle where you're hiding in a bush, and the circle comes to you, and you'll win a chicken dinner. You need no skill.
Yeah.
You only need to get one kill to get a chicken dinner, and
Sorry,
that's what's
in
really magical.
Don Sibley's in chat asking if that's him in the background.
Yeah. That's the man.
You need to do this.
Oh yeah, I'm back to front. I'm not sure what I'm meant to be doing.
So I just checked my stats for PUBG. I have 121 hours played, and I last played it August 17th, 2018, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, it is a fun game. I don't play it because one thing, the Australian, we're in the Oceania region, which is a very small player base, and now that the game isn't, having as much attention from the big name streamers and that, it's a lot of your hardcore players, so it is a lot harder now to win a chicken dinner than it was when the game was in its heyday. Plus, they added bots to the game, which they don't think it affects areas like EU and NA as much as it affects Oceania. But I still really enjoy watching it. You guys know my point on we need to bring a Survivor games back for DayZ. That was the inspiration for PUBG. Was Survivor games and stuff like that. It's an amazing game. It is, watching these professionals play it. It's a beautifully made game. They've done a fantastic job of it. Got a good meta that kind of varies a bit as they buff and nerf, which goes to prove that they are still supporting the game, even if they are raking in as much money as they can. But can you really fault them for that? They are a business. No. They've got to make money. Yeah, it was disappointing when Brendan left, though. A bit like how a lot of people felt when Dean left DayZ, ScaleSpeeder.
Yeah, absolutely. But they still have over 300,000 concurrents that or whatever it is on Steam. So
really,
they're kind of doing. Oh yeah.
It's one of the top 5 games for concurrent players on PC. That's a lot of people are surprised, like you, Marks. Everyone thinks PUBG's dead, but it's far from dead, mate.
Far from it. Wow. And I like to think of a game of PUBG is a half an hour game of DayZ, because you start off with nothing. You've got to get your loot together and your drinks and everything, and then and then it's over in 25 minutes. So it'd be like running to the Northwest Airfield and getting
there you go, number 5. At the moment, it has 157,000. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is the number one. Then Dota,
I'm so
Destiny,
surprised.
Apex Legends, just pipping Battlegrounds.
Yeah. Well, one of the I can't remember the name. Who was the guy you had on? Who was the original DayZ, one of the original DayZ guys behind the Battlegrounds mod that they did? What was his name?
Matt
That really
Lightfoot,
interesting chap.
or was it?
Yeah,
No, it wasn't Matt. Matt was
The guy who works for he worked for Twitch for a while as well.
Soma.
Soma.
Yeah, and the fact that there's the story about that PUBG went to Bohemian Interactive, and Bohemian Interactive could have had PUBG, but they rejected it, and it went to Crafton in Korea instead.
Kicking themselves out of that one, I'd say.
Oh,
wow!
You have to wonder.
Because they're so similar. I mean, I got into DayZ because it looked similar to PUBG. Because I was playing PUBG, and you go online and you see DayZ. Well, that looks really. It's the same sort of Eastern European aesthetic it has, and that's why I started to check out DayZ, and I absolutely fucking hated it to start off with. I thought it was terrible.
A lot of people, I think, hate DayZ to start off with because they just find it too difficult. They don't know what to do. They get frustrated and they leave it. I know a lot of people who are like that, but you just have to give it a proper go,
I mean, now I think DayZ. Going on to like the best game. DayZ is my best adventure game, ever. I think it's unparalleled in terms of that. But it was very, it was a rough ride for me because I remember I started with DayZ on Xbox. They did a preview program where you could play it for an hour, I think, and I did a video about it, and it's in that document I gave you. And I think I call it my first and last go of DayZ. And I said this is the worst game in the world. And I think I starved to death. I couldn't figure out how to put. But when I saw you had to put bullets in a magazine, I was like, "This is insane." Which nutter came up with this idea that you've got to put bullets in a magazine before you can put it in your gun? Who thought you'd have to you'd have to have a can opener to open a tin of beans before you could eat them? And I was like, "This is crazy. This is insane." And I uninstalled it. I'm not going to buy it. Then I had another go because I think I got a different account from Xbox, played it, and I said, "No, it's still shit. I can't stand it. It's awful." But then it came out on PlayStation, and I got it on PlayStation, and the rest was history, kind of thing. Really started to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
How about you guys? What would you say your favourite games outside of DayZ, obviously? Mark, what would be your
Mark, you
favourite?
can go first. It's a hard one for me.
My all-time favorite game, probably I'll have two, so it'd probably be GTA 5.
Right, yeah.
That was like the first game. It was the first game I went to a midnight release for. It was like I took the following day off school to play it, and everything. I was really invested in it. It's still probably my number one. DayZ'd probably be number two, and then I'd probably have to say the Call of Duty genre in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because every day I still play Call of Duty Warzone and all that's just so fun, They'd be my top three.
Yeah, it's great how Call of Duty's come back, isn't it, over the last couple of years with some really good releases. Yeah. Boydie,
Red Dead Redemption, the original game, is probably one of the greatest story mode games I have ever played in my entire life. I couldn't get into Red Dead Redemption 2. My young fella bought it for me for my birthday or for Christmas, and he's constantly upping me for not having finished it. But I played Red Dead Redemption on the Xbox 360, and I remember just being totally lost in that game. Just couldn't wait to finish work and jump back online and go hunting. And when I finally achieved the Legend of the West outfit, I still remember just how cool that overcoat looked, and I fucking loved that game. For open world, I can't go past DayZ. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I'm with you with PUBG. I as bad as I was, I've got a series of videos on my YouTube channel, how to win a chicken dinner when you suck at PUBG. And that was one of the things that I loved about PUBG, was that even a pleb like myself, I constantly say I've got the tactics. I should have the tactics from 10 years in the military, but I lacked the mechanical PvP skills. But I was able to scrabble out a handful of chicken dinners. Probably my most favourite one of all time was Father's Day came early. My son and I we played a game of duos and we won a chicken dinner together. I think we ended up with like 7 or 9 kills amongst us as a pair.
Nice.
And it was, I still remember the feeling. Yeah, it was, he was fucking super excited. I was over the moon. I still, every now and then, probably every 3 to 4 months, I go back and I watch that video just for the memory of getting a chicken dinner with my son right around Father's Day time. It was, I know it's pretty lame, a video game moment. It was one of my favourite moments with my son, but it was fucking, it was awesome. So PUBG's definitely up there for me as well, even though I don't play it a lot anymore. But yeah, and another game that I really enjoy right now is World of Warships.
Right.
I just enjoy. It's one of my. I've got 20, 30 minutes of spare time. DayZ, you can't really log on and do much in 20 to 30 minutes, but I can get out maybe 1 or 2. I'm not that great at it, but I just enjoy playing it. It's one of those pay to win style models. I put a few $100 into it. Bought myself the only Australian ship, the HMAS Perth, which is one of my favourites. It's there's a guy called Jingles who does videos on it, and he likes to say it's built from oily rags and citadels or glass. Gets destroyed easily by other ships when I get seen, but Squad, I have tried Jadfi, and Squad is an amazing game, but a very, very steep skill level. And Squad, if you do not have a good squad leader, if you've got a fucking idiot as your squad leader, you will not do well. You really need to play that with a regular crew and get to know each other. It's an amazing game, Squad. Squad is fucking awesome.
Actually, that's funny you speak of Squad. Playing with some of the boys I play COD with, and they were like, have you heard of Squad? And I was like, yeah, I played Squad years ago. I haven't played it in years. And they're like, is it any good? And I'm like, Squad is probably one of those games where you need to have a team, and probably playing Squad solo is going to be difficult, to say the least. It seems like a game that'd be very fun with a team of people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're probably better off with something like obviously Armour, but Hell Let Loose is a cool one, sort of like World War II, sort of similar sort of one. That's really really good. So, wow.
You got to put Minecraft in there. That was one of the all-time top games.
You can't. A lot of people knock it, but I've said it many a time. It's the original open world survival game.
Yeah, I've been playing it recently again. It's great.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
Brilliant. It's funny, isn't it? I was thinking how, I don't know about you, but when you see like people who talk about retro gaming and like playing like with old consoles and stuff like that, and I always think, oh bloody hell, when we had like the SNES and the N64 or even older stuff as well, we dreamed of having the games we have today, first person shooters, third person shooters, and I think, why would you want to go back and play those old style pixel things when you can run around in DayZ on this amazing map that's like Eastern Europe, and people want to go back and play these other ones? I don't know.
And you've got a few servers as well, mate.
Yes. So what happened with the DayZ side of it is, we kind of started playing on PlayStation 4 a lot, and we had like a little crew we used to kind of play together a little bit. And then so I started a Discord off, learned about how to use Discord, so that we could make sure we were on the same servers and things like that when we were going in. And then the private servers came out. So then it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have a private server, but there was no controls, very few controls. But the main control that we had was the fact that you could now make nights shorter, which was super important, because if you can only play for an hour in the evening, the last thing you want to do is log on and then it's night time, and you're like, oh god. So it was the ability to make the night shorter, but they were still open to everybody. So it got a little bit of a community going, with all the hassles and things that go on a DayZ server when you try and put rules into place, and the rules don't get quite followed, and you get different shenanigans, don't you, between different people.
Yeah.
But then they brought in the controls, where we could start whitelisting people and having passwords and stuff like that. And I decided with my servers to go PvE only. So I said that's it. There's going to be no shooting. If you want to go off and shoot people, there's the public servers and there's loads of private servers you can do. But on these ones, I put up a little paywall for a couple of bucks a month, and said, look, if you want to do like a beginner's DayZ where you're guaranteed not to get shot by anybody, and we're going to have servers, churnerous servers that have a little bit more loot on them as well, so you don't die straight away, and there's going to be more building stuff like that, so you can practice building. And there's going to be more of the good guns, so you can practice with the good guns. You know, all that stuff that you'd never get to see on public servers. And people seem to quite like it because it means that they have the confidence of coming in. There's going to be friendly people around who help them, who give them stuff, and you do not worry about getting shot in the back of the head. And you can wander around, you can explore, and you can have those adventures and get used to the mechanics of the game and all that sort of stuff. And then when you're ready, you can go into the wild west of public servers or PvP servers. And so what I've now got is I've got Churnerous and Livonia for PlayStation, Churnerous and Livonia for Xbox, Churnerous for PC. But then I have 2 extra sort of small servers, which are Deer Isle and Namalsk, which obviously are free. You know, there's no charge for getting into those. But you've got to email me and say, look, I'd like to come in because it's PvE only. You know, it's kind of only come on these servers if you're only interested in PvE because there's no shooting at all. It's just adventure, just exploration, and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it's kind of DayZ without the edge, I guess. You know, because you don't have that bit, but it allows people, as I say, to learn the game. Because I always felt it's a bit of a rip-off with DayZ, the fact that there's no single player version when you buy the game, is there? It's crazy that you have to go online, and this is almost like a single player experience people have. So yeah, but it's been alright.
Someone's asking server IP or host name in chat quickly.
Well, if you just search for ScaleSpeeder Gaming, they come up, but they're all whitelisted or passworded, so unfortunately you can't get in. If you want to come and join them, what you have to do is, if you go to my YouTube, just go to any of the DayZ videos. If you go into the description down below, it will say how to, do you want to join the private server? And you have to, if you want to join my PV private servers, what you got to do is you got to be over 18 or over. You've got to pay $2 a month via Patreon. And you've got to have a mobile phone linked to your Discord as well. So it's all these things to kind of stop griefers getting in. And then you come in and ask you a few questions, and then I whitelist you for the servers, and then you can kind of enjoy yourself that way.
And what were you going to say, Mark?
It would be cool if DayZ had something when you first launch the game, it brings you into like a tutorial mode. That's very quick and basic, but it shows you, this is how you load a gun or whatever. This is how you open food, whatever, cut up rags. Just the basic stuff. So you're not going in completely on an unknown world and not knowing how to do anything. I think that'd probably help a lot of people if they'd done something like that.
Jadpie's saying in chat, I'm not sure if I like the idea of a beginner server. I think the best way to learn is to just dive into a server. Those first 50 hours are the most important. You'll get the best experience on a proper server. And look, I agree with him, but I also agree with you guys. I do wonder how many people have been like what you said you were, ScaleSpeeder, and what fucking stupid game is this? You need a can opener to open a can and all the rest of it, and just uninstalled, refunded, and never gone back, left a negative review, and moved on. But I think personally part of the beauty of DayZ is the difficulty and the learning curve of getting around that. It doesn't hand it to you like I've been playing a bit of Scum lately, and Scum is very, very complex, but it kind of hands it to you with every recipe for every item being in a list on the screen, and all you got to do is click on the item you want to craft, and it tells you exactly what you need to build it. So whilst it's very complex, it's also easier in that you don't have to remember this stuff, whereas with DayZ, you've got to either go and look it up on the DayZ wiki, or go and find a YouTube video that explains how to do something and all the rest of it. I'm torn. I do think a tutorial would be good personally, just for the player base, to a very, very brief tutorial. I don't understand why they don't have like Scum does. You know, you can play Scum single player mode from the launch menu of the game. I don't understand why DayZ doesn't have that. Yes, you can do it. You know, you guys have all got videos on how to create your own server and that on your own PC, but a lot of people aren't very tech savvy about doing things like that. You know, they need to simplify it just so people can get the basics and, you know, yeah. But at the same time, you'd be missing some amazing experiences. We all remember our first time logging into DayZ and how fucking scary it was.
Yeah, and I'd say I wouldn't underestimate how still scary it is, even on a single player experience or in a PvE server where people aren't going to shoot each other. When you're a new player and you come across especially now with the zombies being so difficult to deal with, and you come across your first group of zombies hanging around at a police car or a helicopter or something like that, that's still a scary experience. But the other thing I was going to say as well is when people have limited time and they can only play for like half an hour a night or something like that, they can't put in those hundreds of hours. That means that they can then get the gear and get like a LAR or a FAL or the VSS or a Dragonov or something like that and have a play with it and try and take on a horde of zombies with a silenced weapon. But the beauty with, say, what I try and do with my server is that, you know, there's cars that if you find one of the cars and it's ready to go, so you don't have to, you can just jump in and you can drive it. But in the back, you'll find the VSS with a load of ammo. So you can go somewhere and you can just run around popping zombies in the head, you know, for half an hour. And people really like the fact that they can do that, and they come across things that they would have never discovered on public servers as well. And it's a jumping off point for them. You know, then they go, all right, that was cool. I've done that. Now I want to see real DayZ, and they'll jump to PvP servers or public servers that way.
Yeah, I think they could even if they didn't want to implement a tutorial system, they could even, I know they're not, they never like contract things out, but get a couple of content creators to make 5-minute tutorial video and be like, okay, here's the basics, do all this. And maybe it's played or something the second you go into it, or you can have an option to click on it if you want to, you know, something like that even would do, you know, just for those people that only have half an hour to spare and just want to get in and see what it's all about without having to, you know, like I said, spend hours doing it. So I don't know, it could be something cool, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that there's scope for that. You know, we all remember that they apparently did something with Minder. I think there's some amazing content creators out there who are making some fantastic guides. You know, the ones that I always refer to as ArchieStormclouds. They were funny, they were witty, and they were very informative of the basics of, you know, how to survive in DayZ. You know, he broke it down to how to find food, how to, you know, counter each medical condition, and yeah, you know, Gator was saying before in chat he's watched so many, you know, 0 and 1 viewer streams of people playing DayZ for the first time, and they quit because it's just too hard and never come back to it. Yeah, but yeah, there's also that argument: do we want to make it an easy game? No, you know, part of the beauty of DayZ is the difficulty. Even though nearly everyone seems to play these high loot trader 10 gazillion ruble helis on spawn.
But a good example of a really hard game that has a great onboarding process is like Arma 3. You know, really difficult game, Arma. Really, really difficult. But when you fire up Arma 3 and go into it, there's a whole VR tutorial you can go through to learn how to use the weapons. And we're talking dozens and dozens of tutorials. Then they also have the scenarios where the game puts you into simple scenarios. This is before you go into the campaign, where you're trying out different things. You know, where you're going down a valley to take a village, you know, with your squad mates. You're in a tank, you're in a car, all this sort of stuff. So BI know how to onboard people. You know, they know how to have that as at the beginning, and then you have the campaign, or you then have the other stuff.
Did you see Dirty Dub's comment in chat?
Not to do it. No, I didn't see.
First time playing DayZ was on console. I got stuck in zoomed in with the lack of info. I smashed my controller and didn't return for 6 months.
Yeah, and like you say, how many people do we lose?
Yeah,
because of that.
Does Rust have a tutorial thing when you first boot that up? Does anyone know?
Don't know.
No. Well, you just spawn in and someone hits you on the head with a rock and you die. Sort of.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I've never played Rust, so that's why I'm wondering.
No, great game. Really. Well, Rust. See, Rust is a big. I've been doing loads of videos about Rust this week.
Yep.
Rust is going to be amazing when we get private servers on console. Because the first thing I'll do, PV only private servers, and I've got people sending me emails after email saying, "When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?" Because they love the idea of Rust. You know, the PVE, because it's quite difficult to survive. Building these amazing bases. The stuff you can do in Rust is amazing, but they don't want to get hit on the top of their head by a rock or hit by an arrow when they're halfway through doing it. So yeah, that should be good. Should be good as well. So, but yeah, I agree. We need more onboarding tutorials within the game. I think would really help.
Right, so we've got a lot to cover today, but we've got a few things on here. The one thing I want to talk about is, I know we did a lot of console stuff last week, but console's a bit of a passion of yours, ScaleSpeeder. And it's like
DayZ.
I've got some topics again this week about just how much work is being done of late in the console area, and I'm so fucking happy that it's happening. You know, we poke a bit of fun, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of ribbing. I'm not, you know, one of those who thinks you can't, you know, poke a bit of fun and all the rest of it for a laugh, as long as it's good natured. But man, the people in the console crowd, like yourself, Don Sibley, this Justin Pilcher, and the rest of it, it's fucking amazing the stuff they're working on. You know, we had I'll see if I can share the picture from the Discord. But there's a guy trying to work out how to get fires, like the gas stoves and things like that, working on console. It's amazing what they're trying to do right now, ScaleSpeeder.
Well, and the really cool thing about all this stuff that's happening on console is that somebody will come up with an idea of how to do something, like using proxies to attach things and events to attach items to things. And then all of a sudden other people go, wait a minute, maybe we can do this. Yeah. And it's all server side as well. So you don't have to worry about anything on your Xbox or your PlayStation. And a lot of the way that they're doing all this stuff is, you know, you're putting things inside things. You know, you're putting things underneath the map. Like the classic ones is, and it's thinking laterally as well, because you don't tend to. This is going to sound a little bit off, but I think a lot of times on PC, people think, oh, there must be a mod for that, or we need a Steam Workshop mod to do this stuff. When in fact, a lot of it you can do within the XML files, and probably a lot more efficiently than you would do with a mod. And there's no updating it or anything. Obviously, you do have to update the server every now and again. So things like putting the pumpkins in the streetlights. You know, that was someone just thought of that. We could put them up there. Then you've got light. They've got no fuel, so they'll be there forever. You know, putting the gas lanterns into the lights inside the houses.
Yep.
You know, that's a fantastic idea. And you just go in, you turn it on, and you've got light. And obviously they're trying to put the
that's actually cool.
Yeah,
really good feature.
What's happening is we can use and this works for PC as well. Obviously, you can use the proxy method to attach items to other items, and you can, and I'm no expert at this, trust me, you know, I'm no expert. You can then use coordinates to put stuff. So simple examples would be, Don's done the videos of these, of putting the rifles in the rifle racks.
Yep.
You know, so you can, so then you think, well, if I can put an item against another item in a particular coordinates, that then led to the trader shop, where you have a shop. I don't know if you've seen that, with all the bullets and everything on the walls. Mm-hmm. So then you start to think, okay, if we can do that, how about if we wanted to, like, and with Don's amazing work, you know, where they've put a vegetable patch in the sky, and then you sit the C-130 on top of it, so it looks like there's a plane flying in the sky.
Is that happening there?
Oh yeah. Oh. And then, like, how do you get smoke? You know, because how do you get smoke to appear? And then the guy came up and you see, put the helicrash under the ground, attach it to an event or attach it to an object so it's underneath the ground, and then you get smoke coming up from the top. And then I did a simple mod today and yesterday, where the effect that I wanted to do was I wanted dead players on the server. How would you recreate dead players on a server? And so I thought, okay, well, you can spawn an NPC in, but they just sort of stand there and wobble and eventually die when they starve to death. So what I did was I spawned in NPCs with zombies. So the NPC would spawn in with the zombies kill the NPC, and then the idea is that a proper survivor would come along and go, oh, there's a dead body here, how weird, how's that happened? And I put it on my servers without telling anybody. And then I had two guys who were driving along, going around the server, came on the event while the NPC was still alive and being attacked by the zombies, jumped out of their cars and started shooting all the zombies, thinking it was a real player that was that was done, and getting on the chat going, who's been attacked in Cherno, sort of thing. And then obviously they found out. So it's all this lateral thinking that's going on within the community to come up with solutions
it really
to things.
Blows my fucking
amazing.
mind. The stuff we're getting on PC is mind blowing, but you've got Keegan Holland, a modder, in chat going, that is a really smart approach. You had Daone on Twitter just last night liking something that I shared. I think it was this that we've got up on the screen now. And, it's great to see these PC modders. I kind of hope that maybe some of them might lend their skills and experience to some of the console modders, because whilst it's they've got more tools at their hands on PC, I can only think of the likes of, if you get the Keegans, the Jacob Mangos, the Inclement Dabs, Daone, Gravity Wolf, all these amazing fucking people, team up with a few console modders, just as an experiment, maybe. I know Don messaged me because I was going to be talking about this image I've got up on the screen and how it's fucking awesome what they're doing with the limited tools at their disposal. But apparently this one's proving quite challenging. This was all done in offline mode. Making it work in online mode is proving more difficult. Even Don's tried to help him, but he hasn't given up on it. He's going to continue. So if anyone is interested in helping him out, he just has to get the right offsets, Don's saying. Whatever that means. So you probably understand what that means, ScaleSpeeder.
Trust me, I kind of get some of the concepts of what they're trying to do, but the other thing I'll say is the physical work that has to go into, and Don will agree with me with this. For example, for the trader mod where they were putting all the ammo boxes on the shelves and everything on the wall, the physical work that goes into working out all those coordinates and the offsets and all that sort of stuff is unbelievable. The way that these guys do it, the hours, the dozens of hours they have to put in to come up with all these coordinates to put the stuff on and a lot of these guys, they're just working from their mobile phones, simple laptops, and if that, and when they're testing them, a lot of the guys like Balshad, for example, he's a good one. They test the stuff by uploading it to their server and having to go online as well, because they haven't got the equipment to run local servers on local computers and things like that. And one of the things I kind of believe is that when you are limited, and you have this challenge of, I want to do this, but I'm limited by the fact that I don't have access to init.c and all this sort of stuff. The imagination that has to be involved and to come up with these solutions is what leads to other stuff as well. Because then you start thinking, like I was thinking today. I was thinking, wait a minute, if we can spawn that with that, what happens if you spawn a bear with that? What happens if you spawned a bear with inside a crate that someone could open? What if you could, and your mind starts, clicking along, and I see the stuff that like Don does and the guys do, and you're like, oh right, and then you start trying stuff out, and it's very, very, very exciting as well.
You've got a whole list of stuff here: dedicated PvP arena, buildings on buildings, indoor madness PvP arena, Balshad YouTube.
Have you seen any of them?
Sorry,
have you seen any of those?
No.
So okay, so the one you want to click on is the one that's the dedicated PvP arena. So just click on it and just have a look. And what you must bear in mind is this is all on console. It's playing on a console, and what is I've seen it on past podcasts where we talk about creating custom map for PvP only. That sort of stuff. Well, Balshad has done that. You can download this now from his Discord and upload it, and you could be doing this on a PlayStation or an Xbox. and you can have a dedicated PvP arena where he has placed buildings opposite each other and around each other. There's one called Pay the Damn Rent as well, where he's put all the buildings in. Because I guess probably a lot of people on PC probably don't know the extent of what we can do on console, where the fact that we can place, as long as it's in the game files, we can place anything anywhere pretty much. So we can create our own towns. You could, like the underwater city in Essica, the underwater town. You could do that on console. We have to do it in a different way, but we can do that sort of stuff.
The only thing I see with that, like PvP arenas, like even from the FPS on that one there, like if you had a full server with that, I'd say the FPS would be. That's the only downside.
You got to remember that with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They're 8 years old, aren't they? The fact that it runs at all is pretty amazing. But there's other examples that Balshad has done as well. Is he has like a deathmatch island, where you go to the prison island and there's just spawns of guns and weapons everywhere, and you can run around and you can play TDM or free for all, and it all works as well. It's all there, and a lot of it sometimes comes down to what Boydie was saying earlier, with the fact that a lot of this stuff is also spread out a bit as well. There's lots of these little servers going on, but not big main ones. And one of the great things that Don does with his PvP guarantee servers is it kind of attracts people together to try these things out, and they have a rolling. I mean, Balshad even has just done a tutorial on how you can automatically change the map on your server without having to touch it. So, like every night, it will change from, a PvP arena to a racing arena or something like that.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stuff kicking off and loads of stuff going on.
I just subbed to Balshad's channel. He's only got 159 subscribers. It's amazing what they're doing with like I said, with the limited tools at their disposal. It's great to fucking see, and they should be applauded for doing the best they can with what they've got. It's bloody awesome to see.
It is cool.
Definitely over there.
I'm surprised nobody not that I know of anyway, has never thought of the using the portable gas stoves on the actual cookers that are in game, and same with the lights as well. I haven't seen it or haven't heard anybody talk about that on PC, and somebody in console comes up with that idea. So I hope it'd be cool to see that on PC. And then I was also thinking, because we can retexture stuff on PC, or a modder can, it'd be cool if a modder could somehow make that lantern retexture to a light bulb and blend it in or something. And you could probably, a lot of stuff you could probably do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking earlier as well, is how some of the there's some guns in the game files that don't work.
Yeah.
There's like a bullpup rifle, I think, or something like that. And if you spawn it in, the Groza, it has the flame, it has the muzzle flash on it. So I was thinking, wait a minute, if you've got that, what could you use that muzzle flash for? Maybe you could have it as like in the tanks, the tank wrecks. You could put a load inside so it looked like they're on fire, or all these different ideas that you could do.
Yeah, sure.
But it's just having the imagination, like you say, to think, oh wait a minute, if we can do this, how about we did this sort of thing?
It's bloody impressive. Just it makes me happy to see that they haven't just said fuck it. They've said, right, this is all we've got. What can we do with what we've got? And coming up with inventive ways to, like you say, there's so much we can do. Airstrike, zombie hordes, buildings anywhere, spawn anything, anywhere, including underneath the map, smoking, supply drop, and it's all server side. It's bloody awesome to see, mate. Bloody awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's Balshad's Discord. I'd recommend. We'll probably put the links in the show notes or whatever. Reaver is another guy. And what's really good is that, and Don's really been pushing this as well, is the culture of just sharing everything and saying, look, it's free.
Yeah,
this is how you do it. There's video tutorials, there's written tutorials. We've got the Discords, and it's all free, and we're all willing, mostly, to help. There's none of this, well, if you don't know, you're not good enough sort of thing. If you don't know, you shouldn't be doing it, which is the attitude that I'm sure you've come across quite a few times in certain places.
What's Reaver's Discord? I've just shared that link in.
I don't know does it work. I'm not sure if the link he gave me worked or not. Let's have a look. I'll stick it in there as well, I think.
Yep,
Copy
it's
link.
working. It's asking me to log in. That's a weird link, though. I haven't seen one like that before.
Yeah, I don't know if I copied it correctly from within Discord.
Yeah, but thankfully, Dazzy, we've got the likes of Don and ScaleSpeeder doing these videos explaining to people just how you do things. You know, we had Grandpa on the other week showing how to do map editing. We've had Dean on talking about, you know, he's got videos out about how to create mods, and Matthew Longtime has got videos on how to do stuff. So you've just got to know where to look. That is the part of the issue, though, is finding, you know, where to look, and that's why we have the podcast Discord. We try to collate as much of that information into one point, so that you know, links to different Discords like the Modders Discord. You've just got to know. Just ask. The only stupid question, in my opinion, is the one you don't ask. If you don't ask, then someone can't tell you where to go to find what you need. But it's bloody awesome.
Absolutely.
It's great seeing people really go to town with what they've got on console, Marks.
Yeah, it is. It's great to see. Hopefully, you know, more stuff come up, and maybe console people come up with ideas that PC modders can take into effect, and vice versa. You know, so hopefully stuff like that will happen. I was just thinking when you were saying about, you know, people finding it hard to maybe find these tutorial videos and stuff. I don't know if this is possible. It might be crazy work, but I was thinking what you could do there is make a channel dedicated to those kind of tutorial videos in the podcast Discord. I don't know if a bot would be able to pick it up, so every time, you know, a tutorial video is uploaded or something, it would get put in there or something like that. So then if people were asking, you just link them straight to that channel and all the videos are there.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be a bad idea, to be
playlist.
honest.
Yeah, or playlist or something.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Like, we've got the modding Discord link where people can post their links to their relevant. You know, we've got Dimitri's modding Discord in there, Kafina's workshop, the DayZ wiki, DayZ modders, DayZ expansion, DayZ editor, DayZ mod, DayZ Essica. You know, we've got a bunch of different Discord links in there, but it's dependent on people actually posting those links in there. So that might be one for someone if they want to start collating all this stuff, where we can just create a simple channel with those links. You know, maybe some of the best beginners guides as well, new to DayZ.
Or to even make it simpler, create a YouTube playlist with all of those videos in it, then just create a channel in the Discord and just link that playlist.
Yeah, and then we'll find out that someone's a neo-Nazi and will be cancelled, just like they did with PewDiePie's music playlist, and oh my fucking god.
It looks 2021, they cancel everything nowadays.
Ah, don't they? But that's a whole different argument. Okay, so what else have we got on the agenda? So we've talked about this amazing fucking gas, water, electric mod. I really hope that he manages to work it out. I really do. I've got my fingers crossed for him. There's nothing quite like, you know, having something that is challenging to you and then cracking it and getting it to finally work. And I want to give a shout out to the DayZ Free XML support group. I think they've changed their name. They've added the free after the debacle with the people trying to sell the trader mod. But it's just a great mod. Even though I don't play on console, I just enjoy going in there and just seeing all these people sharing information and trying to make things work. ScaleSpeeder. It's a bloody awesome little group, isn't it?
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I've heard many, many good things.
You need to, mate. You need to.
Yeah, so it looks superb. And one thing I would say, if anybody's watching or listening to this, there are, I mean, we get it in all walks of life, but there are people, especially if you've just bought a server and you go into Discord and you say, can somebody help me do this? You will get messaged by people saying, yeah, chuck me $20 and I'll do this for you and do that for it. Never pay anybody to do it. Okay, the information is all out there for free. It really is. So just
and it's
just
not that complicated as well once it starts. You know.
Absolutely. And when DayZ updates in 6 weeks' time, you're going to have to do it all again anyway most of the time. So you've got to learn how to do it yourself.
There we go. Don just shared the link.
Well, I don't know. Whenever they
Get me excited for a second.
Now, something that's been bothering me, and it was good to see Ariana tweet it out. The poor old Northeast Airfield. You know, for those who remember the mod days and early DayZ before they updated the map, it was such a fucking awesome location. You know, it had the military, and then they changed it. And it was always kind of, you know, with this dangling carrot of there's going to be a reason for the change. You know, there was the talk of the light planes and the choppers being in the vanilla game. But at the moment, it's a fucking waste of a space. There is little to no purpose to go to the Northeast Airfield other than purely for the memories of what it used to be. It's a terrible location. It is probably one of the worst locations on the map. Along with Bloater Airfield as well now, in my opinion. There used to be a reason to go there, you know, for the limited amount of military spawns that were there. But now, why do you even want to go to the Northeast Airfield?
At least Bloater has buildings. There's just tents and some buildings there where you'll find some loot if you're lucky. But on the airfield, there is that one hangar building and there's a couple of industrial buildings. That's it, and they rarely spawn anything. Yeah, Northeast Airfield is a waste. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. So
I think it was ScaleSpeeder because of the dangling carrot of, you know, the choppers and all that was coming. Like, there is a couple of military containers at the Northeast Airfield, which is, you know, I usually check them, and, you know, you usually get lucky because a lot of people ignore it now, but most people just bypass it and run straight to that little series of 3 or 4 barracks up in the hills to the west of it.
So are you guys just talking about the runway itself?
Yeah, the Northeast Airfield.
Right.
Did you ever play the old DayZ when it was one of the most popular PvP locations? Was the Northeast Airfield? No. It was an amazing location.
No, I guess for me, I always tend to think of Northwest Airfield as anything inside, you know, the
no, not the Northwest, the Northeast Airfield.
Oh, the Northeast there. Oh, right. Oh,
yeah.
No.
Northwest Airfield, that's a whole different argument. You know, some people love it, some people hate it. But the Northeast Airfield, it used to have an ATC, a couple of hangars. I think there was a barracks as well. And, you know, it had some really good hills where the sniper players would get up there and, you know, camp it. And, you know, you could always be guaranteed to find PvP at the Northeast Airfield. And I understand the mentality that, you know, they wanted you to have to go further inland for the high-tier military loot. But it just seems like it was changed with a purpose. Like Zyson saying, they originally planned for you to find helicopter parts there, but now there's nothing happening with it. They need to do something. They need to, just for the vanilla version of the game and for console as well, unless people mod it. And, you know, so many community servers have added stuff to it to try to give that location that's got such a strong legacy in DayZ history a purpose now, because at the moment it's got next to nothing.
I posted a picture of it, ScaleSpeeder, in the DayZ pics.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I always use that as a place when I'm practicing doing stuff to spawn things in on that, because it's so flat, isn't it? You can see stuff from miles away. So yeah, I know what you mean. There's nothing there, is there? But who knows?
For those who don't know, that's what it looks like. And this was the classic sniper position, was up on this hill, looking down into it and sniping at, you know, unsuspecting freshies as they were running around trying to find loot. Hey, Marks?
Yeah, it was. Like, why change that if they knew they weren't going to be able to put helis into the game? Or did they know that they were going to scrap helis last second?
No, they were planning helis, but yeah, I don't know. Would have to ask Sumrak. He'd probably know. It's so sad.
Yeah. That kind of side of the map, like, you know, Krasnov, that area, is rarely used for anything, really. Unless it's modded and custom, then people go there. But the vanilla version is just, there's no point going that side of the map. You're better off going up Zelenogorsk way. A lot more stuff that way.
Yep. It's such a sad. Yeah, just looking at that, the memories I've got I ran into one of my best mates with DayZ, Charlie DayZ, at the Northeast Airfield. It was just such a great location. Not a lot, but there was enough there that pretty much everyone, if you spawned on that northern coast, you went to the Northeast Airfield in the hopes of either going from zero to hero and taking out a fully geared guy, or just in if there was no one there, in finding some decent loot before you headed off from there. It was just such a legacy location that meant so much to everyone, and now it's just a shadow of its former self. It's so sad to see.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll put a bit of pressure. I'm sure it's on Adam's list of stuff to do. Can you imagine how big that is?
Oh yeah.
The whiteboard that's on his office. I want to do this. 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 And there's him and his team of 8 people or whatever they've got working on DayZ.
They really have to hire more people. They really have to. It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, but we know it's going in the right direction, don't we? I mean, with Adam at the helm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he's putting as much pressure as he can to get some of the maps over to console as well. And then the slowly, concentrate on getting the game stable, and then slowly incremental changes is the way to do it, because they've got the success. We've got a game that is fantastic to play. They don't want to ruin it by changing too much.
Spud saying
I just hope
chat,
it doesn't take.
Sorry, Marks.
I just hope it doesn't take 5 years to do. That's the only thing.
Spud saying in chat, there is enough military locations, but it would be nice to have more civilian buildings with nice civvy loot. See, that's a good point. There is a hell of a lot of military locations across the map now. Maybe they could add some good industrial locations there. Make it, for those servers where you're base building or something like that and you're looking for sheet metal, add some more industrial spawns, just something, anything to make that location a bit more of give it a reason for people to want to go there.
Why couldn't they make it a civilian airport? Maybe we have that hotel model that's there. You could put that around that area, car park, whatever. You can make it a civilian airport, because all the other runways, Belota is military, Northwest is military. If they had a civilian one, to break it up a bit. It's an idea, like.
Yeah. But something needs to be done with it. Something needs to be done. It's such an important location to a lot of people in DayZ that they need to do something for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Soon, TM.
Okay. Don put out a Twitter post. Wait for it to load up for everyone. Recording a new at DayZ console modding video today. Now, you touched on this, ScaleSpeeder, but Don has, it looks like, worked out how to do airdrops for console.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Now, just to cover it again, how has he got this to work?
Okay, well, I don't know exactly how they do it in terms. I have to kind of watch the video and do the stuff as I'm watching it along. But in essence, there's a couple of different things going on in those videos. There's 2 things. There's the aeroplane in the sky that you can see, which is where what they're doing is they're taking a garden plot, because garden plots are really special in the DayZ files. You can do lots with garden plots, but they're like putting the garden plot in the sky and they're plonking the C-130 on top of the garden plot. So they're attaching it to it. And then I think underneath, then he's putting stuff on the ground. Unfortunately, the plane doesn't move, but if you have it far enough away, it kind of gives you the impression that something's over there, which is pretty cool. Then the other thing they've done, and the other thing he's done, is they spawn in one of the chests that's in the game, one of the bits of furniture that's around, and with loads of loot around it, and then they spawn a helicopter underneath the ground, the Huey with the smoke, and so the smoke comes out. So it's like indicating that there's something there, so you can see. So you'd spawn in the event with the helicopter underground, with the box on the top, with the loot scattered around using the map group proto sort of stuff. And it's a really good effect of a dropped airdrop. And it works. And it's again, it's that lateral thinking of thinking, okay, so this is what we want to do. How could we possibly do it? And then seeing how someone else does it, and it increases the immersion, and is a great treat for players. Because console players, again, we tend to be the look down a little bit in terms of what we get in DayZ, but we're getting this stuff that often isn't on PC anyway, and you can be wandering along, and then you come across this supply drop. And I think the guy who did it, he would have it on his servers, like when they would have their PvP weekends. Apologies, I don't know his name. He would then turn on the event and have all this stuff spawning around the map, so people could pick up their guns and go and kill each other for the weekend and enjoy each other that way. But Don's got some great instructional videos on how to do it with paste bins or all the codes there. So it's pretty easy to follow and pretty easy to do yourself. And yeah, just adds that extra little bit of pizzazz to your server.
Don's giving a shout out to
fantastic.
Lockdown on PS4 who did the smoke. So
Right,
well done, buddy.
yeah.
Well done. And
So
I'll put a
so-
link to the video Don's got there if anyone wants to watch it. Again, I know we're harping on it, but fucking awesome what they're doing for console right now.
Yeah. So then you think, well, we can have smoke with anything now. Wherever you want to have smoke on the map, we can put it underneath the destroyed APCs. We could put it under cars. We know we can spawn in explosions. So we can spawn in an explosion wherever you like. So you could spawn in an event with a load of explosions going off, and then you could have the smoke coming up as well. So after the airstrike, you've then got smoke. All this sort of really cool stuff. It's just having the time to experiment and have a play around to make it work.
Just quickly, I knew there was something I forgot as well to add to the agenda, but oh my fucking god, I was so happy to see Fubar Bundy release a new video. It's been months since his last one, and if you haven't watched it, please go check out Surviving the Molsk with Alan and the Bundy recording. It was kind of nice actually, because the hype from the Molsk has definitely died down, and it was nice seeing a video of people, their first encounters on the Molsk, and I've just shared a link to it in chat. So much love to the Alan and the Fubar. Have either of you two watched it?
No, I haven't.
I might have done, but I can't remember. What's it about?
Surviving the Molsk, pretty much.
Yes. No, I don't
The
know.
thing I love is his editing is some of the best in the DayZ community. He does stuff that he doesn't just do what I do, rip a bit of footage and upload it with a funky intro and outro. He spends time doing some quality editing. He's on my personal account, he's one of the few YouTube people that I'm still DayZ people that I'm subscribed to. If a video pops up from him, I watch it the second it comes out, the second I'm aware of it. So definitely go check it out. Much love, Fubar and Alan.
Excellent.
What else have we got? Now, this is one that I wanted to cover last week, but I had to wait because I ended up having a chat with Tokyo Rose. If you guys haven't seen her Twitter account, you need to be... Oh, I'm not following it on the DayZ podcast account. I am now. The stuff that she is doing when it comes to camouflage and DayZ is fucking outstanding. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Where is it? Here. Another successful product of my creativity, only on DayZ Blackout. Now, what makes it so unique is she's actually got things like this. DayZ, result of blended colours applied to a disruptive pattern. So many people who are creating, our uniforms and all the rest of it for DayZ are just copying real-life examples of camouflage uniforms. What she's actually done is gone into DayZ and identified the colours that the dev team have used for creating the surroundings. And then she goes and creates custom camouflage uniforms that actually work for the environment of the game. Now, someone may have been doing this, I don't know, but this is the first I've seen of it. And it is absolutely outstanding. And she shares this information for others as well. Chernerus inspired palettes, new blendable colours, averaged from 2 Chernerus colours will blend better in between environments. So all you've got to do is use one of those colour palette finders, and you can get these colours and create your own stuff as well. It is, you don't even need to do that. She's got it right here. The actual colour codes for, I know what they are for, but it's RGB or whatever, like something like that. And these are all from within the game files. This is some brilliant work that she is doing. And I highly encourage, if you're into this sort of stuff, to go and follow her for it. DayZ color palettes for designers. This is what I typically use for all my DayZ related camouflage patterns. Now you can use it too if you're not a color lover like me and you need a little help in deciding shades for patterns.
Good stuff.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, folks. Now, apparently there's someone in this picture. Fucked if I can see him.
I can see the shadow.
Oh, that's the person who's taken the photo. Yeah. But no, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you understand anything about camouflage, this is the way that it needs to be done. Not just copy and pasting existing camouflage uniforms that look great, but they don't really work in the environment that the game is in. So if you're after something custom and unique, I suggest reaching out to her. I imagine she does commissions. So yeah, you might be able to make something truly unique for your server. Redo some existing camouflage patterns with colours that are more unique to DayZ. I think it's fucking amazing. It definitely needs to be highlighted. She's been around for a while, and it's phenomenal the work that's being done here. I could not recommend her enough. She was a bit surprised that we wanted to cover her stuff, but that's sort of what we do here, isn't it, Marks? We like to find these obscure things and shine the spotlight on them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Here we go. Now I've got to work out, I've got to stop this and I've got to reshare my screen so you guys can see it too. Okay, Discord. What is, I'm being a boomer. Been having this problem lately where when I go to share screen, it doesn't show me the go live button. There we go. Why hasn't it taken me directly to the post? I'm trying to find this thing about an AEST camera. Here we go.
Yeah, I couldn't get to that.
Here we go.
What's the weather like in Ireland anyway at the moment, Marks?
Here we go.
Terrible.
Let's play it again now.
It's very Tarkov inspired, is it?
Yeah.
Looks very kind of Tarkov. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool.
Yeah.
Is that something that is going to be a public mod?
Don't know the full details of it. I imagine DOJ or someone in chat. Yeah, like DOJ says, YouTubers are going to love that looking at the gun feature.
Yeah.
That's very cool. We'll make for some amazing cinematics. It's purely a cosmetic thing, but fuck, it looks good. It looks damn good.
You couldn't use it in a PvP situation, basically. Like it's not going to be the way I thought that was going to be. It was going to be a mod that you could implement to a server, and it was going to kind of overhaul the PvP ADS situation. But I don't know if that's the case or not. I could be wrong.
I
But
mean,
it looks cool either way.
It may, like, it's still in early days. Dance Jesus is saying there's already a few bits already out, apparently. S-Visual, I believe. So, yeah, it's another one of those things where let's see where they go with it. It's not only cosmetic, it really changes the gunplay, DOJ is saying. So...
Yeah, okay, that is going to be really, really cool if it does S-Visual. Oh, yeah, I've actually seen this mod.
So
if that changes to gunplay, that's going to be...
Yeah.
That's going to be, really, really cool.
Definitely very, very interesting to see. Very, very interesting to see. Something that is very passionate for me is hardcore DayZ. The harder the better is how I like it. But at the moment, we've got a major problem with the hardcore community. It's nowhere near as popular as the high loot, McMansion, 20 gazillion starting rubles and choppers on spawn and all the rest of it style servers, which are a bit easier to play. But there is...
Better service.
Hey?
The better servers.
The better servers.
No marks.
But there is a committed bunch of people who really want that grinding experience. But at the moment, they're dispersed across so many different hardcore servers. I started one, ended up shutting it because no one was playing it, and servers aren't cheap. And I really feel that there needs to be whether someone starts a hardcore Discord, I worry that it would all fall apart because of politics and all the rest of it that always seems to happen when you involve people. But there needs to be a change in the hardcore community. We need to apes together strong, come together and try to create a core few different servers with slightly different feels. So need to be some sacrifices made of what's included and what's not. But at the moment, it's so hard to find a decently populated hardcore server that's not behind a paywall of with mods unique to it and that you can't see across a few other servers and stuff like that. It's an interesting phenomenon. ScaleSpeeder, do you play hardcore DayZ much?
I guess the most hardcore I get is when I go on just public servers, because I think they're kind of hardcore enough. I played quite a lot of public servers this week, and I was really pleased with the zombie play. Now I was loving that as an early game. The fact that I got attacked by zombies quite a few times, and they just knocked me out and didn't kill me. So I just dropped my gun or dropped my weapon, and then I came to. Wandered off, and then I had to go back and get my kit. But I didn't die, which is, I mean, I did die later on of starvation and things like that. But I thought that was really cool. So I think you're right. I think it's very difficult because lots of people want different things from different servers, don't they? And I don't know what do people get? What are these server owners getting out of having their server with not many people on it? Maybe they like that. I know I do. I know. I mean, I'm very, very lucky to have an amazing community of people on my Discord and my private servers. Really good people. It's fantastic. But there's not that many of us. So there's probably only a maximum of maybe 5 or 6 people on at one time on my servers. But I quite like that, and I know quite a few guys like that as well because they don't. There's plenty of resources to go around and all that sort of stuff. But I think if there's anybody who can pull these people together, Boydie, to pull the hardcore community together, it would be someone like you who you can say, okay, let's see what we can do. And I liked your idea of having that mod where you could go from server to server with the hive. I thought that would be, you go up to the northeast of Chernerus and you go on a pier and there's a terminal and then you end up in the north of Livonia or something like that or at one of the ports on Deer Isle, so you could move around. And you've got to try and pull the community together maybe. Or the other thing I was thinking about is why don't we have a DayZ podcast hardcore server in America on the West Coast or something like that? And don't be afraid of small pop. I mean, that's the other thing I would say.
No.
Small pop's fine.
Yep.
If one person is enjoying it, that's enough.
And look, like some people said, some of those servers, if people are happy to fund them themselves and only have a handful of people on there, that's great. But I would like to see, like Mackay says, some hardcore churners with around 40 people on there. So it's not like you're running around Grand Central Station, but there is the chance of bumping into other players. Because that's probably one of my biggest gripes with my own server, was generally when I was on there, I was the only person on there. And yes, the environment was challenging, and it needs to be challenging for a good hardcore server. You need to have that threat of wildlife and infected and stuff like that. But there's also got to be that threat of other players. So,
isn't that a public server though?
Sorry?
Isn't that a public? Isn't that what the public
servers aren't hard enough, in my opinion. For what I like. Public servers are nice, but that's nowhere near hard enough for how I like DayZ. I want to truly struggle to survive. I want to be, having to use mods like Hell's survival mod, where you're crafting a knife from bone and stone and stuff like that to, using stuff like Dumpgrass metallurgy mod to create tools, because there's just not enough good tools lying around. And even Mackay saying a public is too easy. There's way too much stuff. The hardcore players, we're sadomasochists. We like to suffer.
But do you think that the people who really enjoy the hardcore of the hardcore, when you're having to put all this effort into just simply surviving and building, that they really don't like then getting shot in the back of the head when they're doing it? Maybe.
There needs to be that constant threat of someone killing you all the time. You basically, I imagine there would be two schools of hardcore PvE and hardcore PvP, where it's a choice of, do I kill this person and take what they've got, or do I work with him? If the environment's challenging enough, then there's it's a genuine question that most players will ask themselves. Do I take the chance to link up with this person and potentially work together, and together we're stronger against the environment, or do I just kill him, take his gear, and then die myself to the environment later? It's why I would like to see a team of people come together to create, like you said, I tweeted out about using Dumpgrass Hive mod across different maps, and have the economy designed so that so there'd be something like the railgun on the Molsk that could work across on any server if you found it. But to get onto the Molsk, they set the Molsk up so you can't build in it, you can't have bases, you can't even place a shelter or something like that maybe. And the Molsk is the server you have to gear up, build up to, link up with other people, and then go in there just in the chance that you may find this amazing loot that you get on that one map. I do like DayZ Underground Freak and Deacon. DayZ Underground I've done a spotlight on them. It's an amazing fucking server. But it's more about the role play.
I think there's just, I could be wrong, so forgive me, but I don't think there's enough people who want the hardcore of the hardcore, where every second is a struggle. You're struggling to find food, ammo. You're just struggling to stay alive. Like that takes a lot of time. And if you have a lot of time in your hands or whatever, that's perfectly fine. But I don't think there is enough people out there to fill a server to have that true severe hardcore. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I would think better.
There was a server that sadly disappeared, and the guy behind it was in chat earlier, After Dark, and it had the hardcore community in a tizzy. We were in a spin. It was so fucking well done. He almost hit the balance perfect from the get-go of making it hardcore. You were constantly looking for your next source of food, be it an animal, or there was ammo but not a lot around, and it was the gold standard for me of what a hardcore server should be. Sadly though, you are right, there's not a lot of people, and that's why I think the hardcore community needs to link together and work together, because like Spud said, it isn't just about reducing loot. It's about a number of different things. You can reduce loot, and that's one thing, but it's also about it's
think you just have a clash of people. You know, the way everybody has their own ways and loot ideas and the way they want to play DayZ. And I think if you get so many people together, one person will want one thing, but then the next person mightn't want that thing in there, and it'll become too messy. I think is a way. It would work.
Yeah,
I think what you're describing, Boydie, there as well, is you've got a vision for what you want from a server, and I think that any server owner, it's really important to have that vision, and then you craft that vision with help from other people to deliver what you think. And then what Marx was saying is when you do get people who come along and go, well, actually, can we do it this way? I mean, if it's a fair point, then you do it. But you hold that vision. You're the director of this film that is the server that you want, this experience you want people to have. Maybe you should think about using the DayZ podcast to kind of advertise. Use that as the branding for it. And just start it. And you've got to just see what happens, haven't you? So you start off with a small pop server in like Western America or Eastern America, wherever. So it's like in the middle. Think about those really cool mods that you want on there. I mean, I'm thinking about what's the one where you can put doors on normal houses or that
doors. More doors.
Yeah, the one where you have to make your own ammo. That sort of stuff.
Have you seen the Even More Doors mod that has recently come out?
No.
Let me link it. I just saw it last night. It was actually really cool. So the way more doors, the doors that are in there, they always looked quite new and more kind of industrial.
Yeah.
These ones are even more vanilla looking than the vanilla doors. Put it in chat.
Now, a few people have mentioned some other communities. One of the problems I face is that a lot of these servers are based in the EU. So my ping is in the mid to high 300s, sometimes 400s when playing on them. And when you're dealing with usually increased and more dangerous infected and stuff like that, that ping really fucking hurts you. That looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really like...
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me bring that up for you guys.
That's one thing I had with the original Mordor's mod. They looked just kind of too clean and awesome. But this one looks really, really well done.
Dazzy's saying he's concerned that BI will pull down the Even More Doors because they are using BI textures.
Same thing would happen with that vanilla base building mod I done a while ago. But like, why are they so angry that they're using textures? I don't understand that. Is there a reason why they get so angry because they're using textures that are already in the game?
I don't know.
But yeah, maybe you should think about that, Boydie. You stick it on the west coast of America, because would that be a good ping to Australia? Would it? Or stick
usually
it in Australia?
Dallas. Usually Dallas is we have the best ping too.
Stick it on, mate. 10 pop server or whatever for a few bucks a month. Put together those because you know what you want on your server, and I would definitely have a go on that, and then like say just stream it and just talk about it, and you'll gradually attract those sort of players who bring in. And grab a couple of bucks off them every month or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say you could do the way you do at Scale, where they pay $1 or $2 a month that goes towards that. Like with that, if you're charging $5, $10 to get into a server, people are like, no way. But if you charge something really cheap, they throw that your way.
Yeah, that's the whole idea with the $2 a month thing. We say, look, it's not about making money from it. It's just saying, look, we want to have a PvE experience. So there's this little barrier. So you've got for the less than the price of a posh coffee a month, you put this in the pot, and it helps to keep the servers going and things like that.
Exactly.
And it's something people will pay. And what I say to everybody is, before the end of the month, all the people who are existing on the server say, look, if anybody's got a problem, because of COVID and everything's begun, don't worry about it. Nobody's ever going to get thrown off if they stop paying or anything like that, I'd rather have the community than not. And people pay, and and it people come along and they play it for a while, and then they go off and then they do other stuff, and they'll come back again, and they'll mix and match, and they'll play the DayZ they want today. I'm sure, like you, Mark, sometimes you want to play DayZ where you're just wandering around exploring, and then other times you want to be shooting people, every 5 minutes. or like with Boydie, eating out of half-eaten cans. Stay alive.
Eating roadkill and shit like that. Yeah. Yeah.
What a great mod that would be.
Look, if your people are interested, hit me up with a DM or something like that, because I would like to try to revive something like that and make a centrally located one. But I'd rather work with some of the existing communities that are out there, and that's why I had the idea of a hive that links these servers, and set them up so that it's a bit of an adventure across loot that is unique to certain communities to certain servers, and gives you a reason to keep moving, and
Absolutely.
I don't see why you couldn't team up with, I don't know, a server host that already has servers out there. I know maybe they might do it, but it's always worth just firing them a message and being to maybe DayZ Underground or Dumpgrass servers or something like that, and be like, hey, would you like to partner up where we do a DayZ Underground X DayZ podcast collaboration server, and you promote
Or
it on
event.
here and the videos, or event even for a weekend or something to test the waters and see what it'd be like. There's stuff like that you could do.
We need
Absolutely.
After Dark back. After Dark was my favourite. Quick question from Freakin' Deacon. What's all three of your favourite servers at the moment? For me, DayZ Down Under is always up there. True Survival, Essica. And I've actually been playing Lax Hawthorne's hardcore server and really enjoying myself on it. I go on about how I love being lonely and all the rest of it, but it is nice to actually bump into people and have some rather frustrating at times interactions. Ran into some bloke who was talking like Gollum, and oh my fucking god, he annoyed the crap out of me. Found out later I think he's a content creator. But yeah, they knocked me out when I was a freshie, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes. I hate freshie killers. I really hate freshie killers. But they're the three for me at the moment. What about you, ScaleSpeeder?
I mean, I play on my own servers. That doesn't really count, though. But I really enjoyed playing on the public servers this week.
Yep.
I really had some good DayZ fun. Just surviving in terms of food and finding stuff. Just surviving in terms of zombies attacks and stuff like that. And I was thinking, this is good. But I don't really go on that many different PC ones because I don't really have the time to check them out. So it tends to be playing on my server. Because I've got the Deer Isle and the Mouse one as well. I really enjoy wandering around Deer Isle and discovering stuff. I think that's pretty cool. But I know that's not a particular server; it's a map. But
What about you, Marks?
See, it's tricky for me because when you're making videos, I could swap between 4 or 5 servers in a week. Trying to find the best ones. DayZ Rearmed is up there. It's probably one of my top. I'm going to say the Zero servers for Essica. I haven't tried them yet, but they're on my list to try, and I've played their generous servers before, and they've been great. So I know they're probably going to be good on Essica as well. And honestly, I don't have a third one.
Yeah.
I just swap. I just go to so frequently that I just, don't have that many favorites.
JLK put out a tweet. Let's bring it up for you. So he's talking about the challenges of being a content creator, and a very, very successful one. I think it's important that I tell my Twitch subs viewers why I haven't been streaming lately, and it was selfish of me to take this long to explain. I've had to take time away from streaming to focus on YouTube videos, because right now I find it impossible to do both. Streaming all of my YouTube content has become impossible due to stream snipers, metagamers, so I've had to record offline. And I just can't put my energy into YouTube along with frequent Twitch streams. I will be back soon. I just wanted to say sorry you haven't seen me. I plan to do a full revamp of my Twitch channel and commit to a proper stream schedule at some point in the near future. So I'm definitely not gone forever. Thank you to everyone who supported me on Twitch. I'll be seeing you soon. And the reason I wanted to touch on this is not to, shout out JLK. He doesn't need a shout out from us. He's fucking massive. But it's something I've noticed a lot, that, with people, as they become more successful, it becomes hard for them to stay what they were when they first started. You look at the Running Man. with his videos. A lot of his videos now are quite often, every now and then he'll do a highly edited one, but he uploads just as many that are just a straight rip from his stream and that. It's so hard for these people, once they find success in a certain area, to keep up that standard marks.
Yeah. It's same with me. I can do this every time I stream. I'm streaming to get content for a video.
Yeah.
You know, you can't stream one thing and then try and make a video on another. It's just not. You don't have enough time in the day to do that. So I can see how, you know, you can take. I haven't streamed in weeks myself because I just, you know, you're working on so many videos and then you want to stream, but you can be bothered, and it's just like there's no point, and so you just leave it, and it just becomes very is tedious the word for it? Maybe like you just I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. It wrecks your head. Like you're just mentally exhausted when you have to do both, and yeah, it can be very draining, and it can lead to just not want to play the game anymore and want to take days away and stuff because you're just constantly doing it and doing it and doing it. And then as well, if you're streaming and just constantly making video highlights, it can get boring for the viewer to watch if they watch both. So there's so many different things that clash with it and stuff, and yeah, so it's nice to take away from break, but it's hard to do both. It's extremely hard to do both.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was talking about getting stream sniped as well, wasn't he? Which must be pretty rough when you're trying to...
stream snipers are pain.
You know, you're trying to do something, and one of the things why I wanted to play a lot of DayZ this week, just on public servers as well, was just to get away from thinking about, just as Mark says, just playing DayZ to get content. So in my case, it's often testing things, or, you know, trying to get things to work. And when you're going into, you know, I'm running around the PlayStation a server or something like that, and the reason why I'm there is I'm trying to see if this helicopter has spawned in with all these zombies around it. I'm trying to see if this thing has happened. I'm not playing it for fun. I'm quality testing, really. You know, as you're going around. But it was great just to go on public servers and just play DayZ. I mean, I did stream them as well, you know, just for fun anyway. But just to kind of reset and do that. I mean, often I'll play different games anyway. I play lots of different games, but it is really, really difficult. I mean, I think what these big guys have to do is at some point you take the plunge and you push it off to an editor. You know, you employ someone else.
If you're making the big money, you can do that. But
yeah.
If you're a channel of my size or your size, or, you know, someone who's under 100k subs, an editor usually takes between 10 to 20% of your revenue. Is, I think, usually how it works. So unless you're getting, you know, hundreds of thousands of views a video, is it really worth it at the end of the day? You know, and the editing is one of the things alone. Like, it's to say even edit a highlight video of your stream clips, it can take 5-6 hours to do, and then rendering that is another 2 to 3 if it's a long video. You know, it's so hard to balance everything. It's impossible.
My fucking podcast videos have been taking me up to 40 hours to fucking render, and when you're rendering, there's not much else your PC can do, so I've got to really time them right between my streams and other stuff I do. Otherwise my PC's pretty much fucking offline. You know, one day I would like to look at maybe getting a second PC that I can do the editing on. So, but yeah, that's definitely not in my scope at the moment. Far too expensive.
Yeah, and that's always the catch, isn't it? You know, maybe by investing some money in a good editor and saying, look, there's all this footage, what can you do for me? And then they give you this one super duper video that you then put on your channel that then gets, you know, many views, which then helps your channel raise up. But yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, I mean, I haven't done that or anything like that. And one of the things I specifically avoid is editing. The reason I can do what I can do is because I have a really fast pipeline for making videos. You know, I think one of the great secrets of YouTube is something like the PlayStation 4, and people don't realize how an amazing content creation tool that console is, and you know,
you can record, clip, and then just instantly send it.
You can record, clip, you can send it, you can stream, you can edit video on it as good as you can in the light versions of something like, let's say, Elements or whatever the video one is. and it enables you to really, really be fast and agile with what you're doing. And it's only rendering to 720p, but what do you need to watch footage on a phone and things like that? So you can have a really, really fast workflow. But yeah, going back to we all know there's plenty of YouTubers out there and Twitchers. You suffer from burnout.
Yes,
they
That's the
take
word,
breaks.
for burnout. Yeah,
They go off and they play different games, but maybe that's life. Maybe that's what you've got to do, because when it starts to become a grind, it's not enjoyable. And when your hobby becomes your job, people often want it, don't they? We think, oh, what a dream it would be to do this full time.
Yep.
And then you think, actually,
like Moxie
That was
Don
me
saying
a
in
year
chat,
ago.
all work and no play. Need the play to keep the
Yeah.
passion of the work. When it becomes just purely a job, it's got to be hard at times for some of these blokes, like the Running Man, like Lax Hawthorne, and so on, to just continuously, switch on the camera and perform. It must be
It's
harder,
draining.
especially for those using a webcam.
Yeah. Like, a good example of how it works, like if you're really popular on YouTube, and I'm taking this example from Call of Duty, but it'll work for any game. A streamer called Nick Merckx, he's the biggest Call of Duty streamer on Twitch. He, say when an update comes out for Call of Duty, he'll have 100, 200, 300,000 viewers live. He has a team of 5, 6 people. Half of them might be editors. The second he's finished with his thing, it's straight to the editing team. 20 minutes later, it's up on YouTube and it's getting the max amount of views. And that's efficiency when I work for.
What does
But
he
if
stream
had
on?
no editing
What does he
team-
stream on? Twitch or?
He streams on Twitch.
Oh, he's
Streams on
breaking.
Twitch.
He's breaking terms of service there.
I think if it's in your partner contract or something, you can do it in ways like that. But like, it's literally like he has millions of subscribers on YouTube as well. So the second it's done on Twitch, upload it to YouTube, and that's done. But imagine if he didn't have that editing team, he'd have to finish the stream. He'd have to edit. It'd take too long. He wouldn't be able to stream the following day.
But with that many
It takes so
viewers, 100, 200, 300k, he can afford the editing team for the small people grinding their way to become a big name. It's got to be fucking hard. Like, I'm pretty sure the Running Man still does all his own editing.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm pretty sure Nick Merckx would have had that decision at some point when he was thinking, oh my God, I'm trying to stream all the time. I'm trying to do this. But that first person, who was probably a volunteer, he probably had someone from his community who said, look, I'll have a crack at it. Let me edit your videos. And then you start slipping them some money, don't you? Or you go out and you subcontract to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you almost need like a YouTube. I mean, YouTube do some quite good videos, don't they, on how to do collabs and all this sort of stuff. You need a business plan for doing that sort of stuff, don't you? When I get to this sort of stage, when I'm streaming for this many hours a week, I should then be thinking about getting help to do other stuff, to clip the videos and edit the videos and upload them that way. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and as the person in the chat said, when your hobby becomes your job, it ain't fun no more.
No, it takes it shines a different light on it that you didn't realize.
Now, have you guys done this? The legacy mode. The one tweeted out. Something I have been hesitant about, but here you go. How to play Legacy DayZ 0.62 offline mode. Legitimate method for using actual older Steam depots, still officially hosted on Steam, like what we had with Beta 0.63. Were either of you aware you could do this?
No, not until he tweeted it anyway.
Yeah. So there's been a bit of stuff happening behind the scenes. I'm not sure how much I can actually talk about on stream. But they're working out how to play Legacy DayZ. And at the moment, it's publicly in the offline mode. For those who wanted to try out Legacy DayZ and the nostalgic feels, also so Dancer Jesus can stop annoying everyone about volumetric clouds. Now, it's apparently, here's the reply. Yes, you can view as many as back to 2017. Check out SteamDB for App ID. I have no idea what that means, but there's also other versions of the game that you can play, including the 0.63. So, especially for those who... I've watched a lot of chatting amongst a bunch of people who played it together. And there was a lot of people, talking about the the rose tinted glasses of what the old legacy DayZ was like versus what it's like now. You know, not being able to sprint up hills, for example. You know, you had to slow to a walk, and how clunky it felt by comparison to what it is now. But pretty much there was no, oh, the old mode was shit, the new mode is great. It was, they both had their benefits and they both had their negatives. So if you're interested, particularly with someone like you, it sounds like you didn't get to play a lot of the older version ScaleSpeeder. This would be a way to see what all the hype was about, mate. You'd probably find it quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I played Armour 2 DayZ. Done videos on how to do that. The DayZ mod, sorry, that sort of stuff. Go back. Yeah, it's kind of. You're right. And people look back at with a little bit of rose tinted glasses, don't they? I think, what was it actually better? And sometimes you go back and you go, yeah, it's all right. It's like playing old Battlefields, isn't it? And old Call of Duties. You go, yeah, they're all right, but we've moved on now. And I think it's
that's the thing. I'm like, so it's like, all right, it's in the past. Keep it in the past. And move on. We're in. Look to the future now. But I can see why people might play it, but.
One of the things that a lot of people have liked about it is just seeing some of the old locations, the old Northwest Airfield, the old Northeast Airfield. I don't think you can see the old Northeast Airfield. I think that got changed before 2017. But I think it's great that they've worked out how to do it, and it's totally legit. It's not doing any hacks or cracks or anything like that. It's just using stuff that's freely available, and DOJ saying, actually, some people thought they were going to be disappointed about Legacy after all this time, but it was quite the opposite. Yeah.
Brilliant. More strength to their elbow. They should go for it.
So if you want to know more about it, link there in chat, and I'll try to remember to put one in the description of the video as well if you're listening to this live. If you're listening to this on Spotify or on YouTube. What else have we got? Now, this is something that I want to defer to you a bit on, ScaleSpeeder. Now, I need to share my Discord screen, so give me 1 second. Weekly show agenda. They can do this for Armour. Why can't they do this for DayZ? So, can you explain how this DLC for Armour 3 is working, ScaleSpeeder?
Okay. So, wow. So, Prairie Fire. It's a C DLC for Armour 3, the latest one, and probably
Community DLC.
It's community DLC. It's considered by many already, even though it's not been out that long, to be probably the best DLC for Armour 3, full stop, including all the official ones. And it's taken the team who have made it a long time to get here. A lot of them were working on and still work on the unsung Vietnam mod for Armour 3, which has been around for a very long time, which has been around since Armour 2 days. The guys are working on it. And then I think it's about 3 years ago, I think it was, might be 5 years ago, they started to consider, actually they wanted to do something a little bit more professional, a little bit more better with better assets, and put an awful lot of work into it. And I would highly recommend anybody, even if you're not into Armour 3, just look up Prairie Fire Armour 3, the trailers to watch it. But especially what you want to watch is the developers behind it have done all these interviews, because what they did was they brought in Vietnam vets, MACV Vietnam vets, as consultants on the game. So there's guys like Tilt. If you watch any of the Vietnam stuff, you'll know them. All these guys who were in SOG, who were out there in Laos, who were in Cambodia running these missions, helicopter pilots who were there to give it this authentic feel. And then they have the interviews with these guys, and they even have some where they're playing the game and they're saying, this is really good. And the quality of this DLC is absolutely fantastic. And I kind of wanted to bring it up because there's always a lot of talk on the podcast, isn't there, about paying modders. What's it going to take for modders to get paid? Now, the team behind this DLC are getting paid. They're getting a cut from from the sales of this mod. But if you look at the quality that's involved in this DLC, it is exceptional. It's as good as Arma 3, in terms of the way it looks, the way it plays, the research that's gone into it, and the whole package. And I guess you could say, if modders want to say, how do I get paid? You've got to create something like this and then present it to BI and say, look, this is what we want to do. This is what we can achieve. What do you reckon? And they've got this business relationship. Now, Arma have done it before. Their first CDLC was mobile global mobilization, I think it's called, which was brought in the Cold War in the 1980s. The Eastern Pact communist countries. And now we've got Prairie Fire, but that's what it's about. If you want to get paid, you've got to basically create something this good. And although we do have amazing mods for DayZ, and I'm thinking about things like Winter Generous and some of that sort of stuff that you could probably bring across to the main game now, and it would be ready. Some of the other stuff probably isn't quite finished, isn't up to that highly polished standard that something like Prairie Fire is. And yeah, I guess that's the example. That's the standard you'd have to meet in order to be able to maybe get paid for Bohemia Interactive to bring what you're doing into the game and say, look, this is our stamp of approval. We're going to put it on the Steam store, and we're going to have it as part of an official release.
I would be
and it is amazing.
interested. I know that they'll probably never share the information, but I'd be very interested to know what sort of revenue they're making from this, because the question I have is, this looks like a lot of expense has gone into making it. How much are they going to get return on their investment? And I wonder why. We all remember the hype around expansion when it came out, and in the lead up to it, and that was a massive undertaking for DayZ. And if they'd had the support of Bohemia saying, right, we're going to make yours an official community DLC, how does one even go about approaching Bohemia? I had no idea this could even happen. Is this the first time they've ever done a paid community DLC?
No, they had global mobilization before, which
Yep.
was the Eastern Pact one. I'm pretty sure you could get on the podcast one of the main guys behind it. I think he's a guy called Rob. He's a British guy. He's in most of the interviews with the Mac v SOG guys. He's one of the guys who was part of the Unsung mod, the Vietnam mod for Arma 2 and then Arma 3, and then got heavily involved in this as well. I reckon you could definitely get him on, because they're doing lots of promotional tie-ups with lots of people at the moment, to advertise Prairie Fire. I'm sure you could get him on, and like you say, he wouldn't discuss financial specifics, but I'm sure he'd probably talk about how they created working relationships with Bohemia Interactive, and how they developed that over the many years. We're talking from Arma 2, 3 through to presumably Arma 4 coming out fairly soon, and then how they convinced Bohemia Interactive to take it on, because I think they probably almost had a finished product to start off with, in the Unsung mod, a thing that worked very, very well, that tens of thousands of people played, and they were able to say, look at this works, this works as good as Arma 3. We think we can do this. This is our business plan to get it over the finish line in order to do this, and then and present Bohemia Interactive almost with a fait accompli. But I'm sure you could get him on, and he would explain it all, and how they did it.
That would be a cool episode if you could actually get him on to see how it would work.
Yeah, because honestly, the amount of work, the research that they've put into it is they were getting the guys from SOG. And these guys are old now. They're 70 years old and 80 years old. They were getting them to go through all their old stuff from Vietnam, like their old bandanas and their equipment and stuff like that. And they were taking it and then scanning it and taking it into the game. There was one story where one of the old guys was playing it, and they were getting into one of the helicopters, and there was a M60, I guess, or a 50 cal or something. And then the way that the ammo came into the gun, there was like a cover that it would go over that was made out of an old can of beans. And the guy went, wait a minute, that's a can of, I'm just making it up. It's like, that's a peaches can, isn't it? And the guy went, yeah. And he said, no, we would have never used that. We would have used this can, which would have been like ham or something like that, and then they changed it and they put it into the game. Loads
Pretty
of honestly, it's really really cool what they've done.
It seems like BI seems to be very reluctant to add anything community-wise to the official version of DayZ. They seem very reluctant. I don't know if it's like clearly I'd be very surprised if they weren't aware of DayZ expansion. And I'm surprised they didn't contact them and be like, okay, listen, this is a big thing. Maybe it mightn't come to console because maybe console would be too difficult, but at least PC, this could be a cool DLC to bring to PC. Let's team up and do it. But it just seems like, I don't know, they don't reach out, or I don't know if the DayZ expansion devs reached out or anything like that. But it just seems, I don't know, like it'd be just, there's so much stuff you could add to the vanilla game that I think wouldn't be too much of an issue for BI to just say, yeah, go ahead and do it, or do this or that. But they must have all the resources on Arma Games or Vigor or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the thing we can't underestimate is the technical limitations of DayZ as well.
Yes.
Because when you do fire up the Arma launcher, and the way that it pulls in the DLC for like contacts and global mobilization and the prairie fire and all the different stuff, it's a bit more sophisticated than what the DayZ launcher does and the way it does it when you go into the game. I'm sure if you got Adam on again and he would say, look guys, we'd love to do it, but this game is 8 years old, and the technology when we made it 8 years ago was old then, and we're just really limited with the structure that it has. To do this sort of stuff, it would take a massive team to be able to do it that they're not willing to do.
DOJ saying they definitely did help, at least on the script stuff, but they do for all modders.
Yeah.
It just seems like if there's technical limitations there, it seems like anything that is offered to the team or anything like that is just never going to happen, and the game's just going to stay the same because technical limitations. I don't know how. I don't know if they just didn't have an option or they didn't realize this when they first were looking into doing the engine swap that we're on now, and realize, okay, we're going to have more limitations on this than we did in the old engine or whatever it may be, and be like, this might be a problem down the road in 5 years or whatever. But it just seems like this game is just kind of stuck, and I could be wrong. There could be some massive update down the road where they're going to improve the engine or something. We don't know. But it just seems like at the moment that everything is kind of stuck because of hardware limitations.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. It would be great to get one of the guys on from Prairie Fire though to talk to them about how they how they got that relationship going and how they I mean, it's quite an amazing thing. These guys were modders; they were just modders, and they still are, and yet they managed to get this amazing piece of work that is, again, considered by lots of people probably the greatest Vietnam shooter that's ever been made as well. So it's pretty cool. And as far as we all like to guess, don't we, about what's going on with Arma 4 and DayZ. You can only imagine that if you were at Bohemia Interactive, you would want some sort of coming together of the engines. If you were saying, okay, in the next 10 years, we want to have DayZ 2 coming out, and we've got Arma 4 coming out, and both those games are probably going to be around for 8 years. We really need to get them on the same engine, or at least something similar, so we can use the stuff together. A bit like EA did with like Frostbite and Call of Duty do with their engine and things like that. So I don't know, because the thing that I love the interview you guys did with Adam, where basically he was saying, look, we can do everything that you want, but we just don't have the resources at the time, or and say like today when I was working on my little mod to spawn a person in with some zombies and NBC, the amount of work that then goes into to try and test that and to see if it works and does it break anything else and all this sort of thing for one little tiny thing is immense. And when they're changing these big things in the game, I'd imagine they just go, oh gosh, they've got to be so careful because they haven't got so many people.
Do they do another engine swap? Hypothetically, for the way we've already went from the old engine to this one that we're on now. And are they looking at the limitations and going, okay, maybe when Arma 4 comes out, DayZ swaps to that engine? And maybe that's why they're not releasing any big content updates now, because they're focusing on that. And then once Arma 4 comes out, we'll give a hypothetically 6 months down the road, DayZ swaps to engine as well, and then all the Arma 4 physics and DayZ can all intertwine together, and
You can
not
only
the perfect
imagine.
situation, but
Yeah, you can only imagine that they look at the success that Arma 3 got through mods and the success that DayZ got through mods, and they're saying, look, we need to reproduce this, for Arma 4 and DayZ 2 or whatever it's going to be. We have to reproduce this. How are we going to do this? And maybe it's coming. And as, games get more complicated and assets get, 4K assets, 8K assets, you've got to share them, haven't you? You can't do it all again.
Yeah. Can I ask everyone here now and everyone watching this, go to the link I just put in chat and either like it, retweet it, fucking reply to it, do whatever to get this up there. Because at the moment, Bohemia Interactive put out a tweet. Hey, all, we're putting together material for our upcoming Bohemia recap and would love to hear from our awesome community. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us, you know what to do. And I, under the official account, asked a simple question. What are your plans for the future of DayZ? Because I think that is the great unknown at the moment. There's so much trepidation and speculation in the community. We're hearing that the dev team is down to a skeleton staff, and like you said, Adam has said to us, there's only so much they can do with the resources they have. I want to know what their plans are for the future of DayZ. Obviously there's only so much they can tell us, but it sometimes feels like they're just phoning it in right now with DayZ, letting it be the cash cow that's bringing in lots and lots of money from console, and don't ask them for a roadmap. Don't ask them for a roadmap, Spud. But like it, fucking reply. Yes, would like to know. Elaborate on it. Be more specific. What you want to.
I don't. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't reply to that at all, for the simple fact they just don't want to. You know what's like now, a question like that. It'd be great if they did. Trust me, it'd be great if they did. There's, Chris is a good video there if they did, but I don't see them personally replying to it, just because maybe they don't know themselves what's going to happen to it, or there's a big secret.
If we don't get much pressure on them though, they can easily ignore it.
Oh no, yeah.
So the more people that retweet it, that like it, reply to it, whatever. The more they see it as, okay, people do want to know. And if they don't reply, then it's, well, what are we meant to take from that?
I don't know. I mean, could you think if you went out to the Czech Republic now, that's where DayZ's base is, in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Do you think if you went out there, they would be like, like the Google cars with the cameras on top that do the Google Maps?
Yeah.
Do you think there's ones like that, but say Bohemia Interactive, going around and they're redoing all the textures for DayZ 2 in like 4K? Because
I'd cry if they did.
But they could be right now, and we wouldn't know, would we?
Yeah, no.
Because they're not going to tell us, are they?
No, that's my thing. I just don't think they're going to say a word.
What you need to do, Boydie and Marks, you need to get Sumrak at the next big gaming convention. Come over to Europe, and you need to get him really drunk.
Have like a camera or something, record it all.
Well, you get a bit dark there, Marks.
No, Sumrak, we're not recording. We're just lead into my chest a bit more there. What did you say then about DayZ 2? Did you get that, Mark? Did you get that?
Ignore the boom arm. With the microphone next to you, something.
No, that guy with the camera on his shoulder's not with us. No. What are you talking about? We wouldn't do that to you. No, I wouldn't do that to Adam. I've got too much respect for him. He's a fucking nice bloke.
Absolutely.
I've just tweeted this.
But yeah, the more people asking the question, hopefully, the more likely they'll be to give just something. Something from BI. They're notoriously quiet when it comes to DayZ. It's been such a great game for them. Keegan's saying BI actively blocks DayZ mods in Arma 3. Probably would do the same in Arma 4. Yeah, okay, I didn't even consider that. Because we've been saying someone will make a DayZ mod for Arma 4, but if they're blocking them...
Why would they block them?
Because they've got DayZ.
They just want they just want the two games separate. But if they're blocking them, I don't know.
I know that, going back to Prairie Fire, if you fire up Prairie Fire in Arma 3 and you also load in the Ravage mod, you can have zombies in Vietnam. that all works fine, amazingly. So you can be going around in a Huey gunship, taking out zombies around a firebase in around Kaysan. So that's pretty cool.
Most DayZ mods borrow assets from Arma 2 or DayZ standalone, which is a big no-no.
Right.
Keegan saying. Fingers crossed we get something.
When is their 20th anniversary? Is it next month? June, right?
I don't know.
Someone's saying it's in the next months. Next month, maybe. Dance Jesus is saying 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, because like DJ was saying, we could, get some news then. Maybe they're waiting. That's why they're not saying anything. Imagine they drop. They're like, okay, DayZ swapping to this engine. Armor 4 is coming out. Not imagine.
Well, there'll just be a logo, won't there? There'll just be a logo,
Probably.
and that'll be it. So.
On May 2021. So we'll put a soon TM.
Jad's saying it, and I agree. One of the biggest mistakes that Bohemia makes is lack of official communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Console topic. ScaleSpeeder, you wanted to talk about the Xbox One S as a DayZ PUBG machine at a bargain price.
Sorry, the Xbox Series S, I should have said, not the Xbox One S. So the new one, the Xbox One S. Yes. So I've always been a PlayStation guy. Xbox 360 first, then PlayStation 4. But with the next gen ones, with the Series X and the PlayStation 5, you can't get hold of a Series X or a PlayStation 5. Very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So the Series S became available a couple of months ago, and I thought I got a notification from Amazon saying that it's available, and I thought about it for a bit, and then thought, yeah, sod it, let's get it. And I tell you what, if you want to have a 60 FPS 1440p gaming machine that plays DayZ beautifully at 60 frames a second, and PUBG as well, it is a billy bargain. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the specs or whatever, but if you think one of these, like an Xbox controller, that if you wanted to use that on your PC, that was going to cost you 50 quid, isn't it? Probably something like that. So for 200 quid, you get this amazing gaming machine that can play DayZ at 60 frames a second easily, 1080p and 1440p. I think it could even go up to 120 frames a second as well. And it is absolutely fantastic, because what Microsoft have concentrated on in comparison to Sony is making older games work better. So they have something called FPS Boost, and also they've got the old backwards compatibility program. So if you get a PlayStation 5, you can play DayZ at like 4K or whatever, but it's still 30 frames a second. But with the One S and the One X, it bumps up, so you're playing at 60 frames a second, where you get that big change, don't you? From the game being like a bit jaggedy to being sort of pretty smooth, and it's absolutely fantastic. And PUBG as well, it plays fantastically, and all the older games, so Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, all the Call of Duties and things, play fantastically well. So if anybody's thinking, if there's any console players out there who are thinking about next gen, but can't get hold of a PS5 or a One X, I'd say consider the One S. I was almost crying when I turned DayZ on, and it was going at solid 60 frames a second, and I could jump into a car, and I was hammering around at 100 kilometers an hour, and it was working perfectly well.
No, so you had us then, mate, until you said the cars work in DayZ. Now we know you're fucking lying. How much are they paying you for this sponsorship, mate? You meant to declare this before you come on the podcast, hey? Marks and I want our cut of this fucking money.
Well, you PC gamers, you're all here, you're on your keyboards, aren't you? And you're all playing like this with your mouses like this. Whereas us console guys, we're in our comfy chairs, kind of we're kicking back. We got a console. We're looking like big people. We're nice and relaxed. We're just more chilled out than you guys. So there we go. Yeah, Xbox Series S, bargain of the decade.
Love it. Okay, what else have we got? Content creator mini spotlight. I've got two this week. Became aware of someone called Jippy who's been doing some great guides for DayZ. Actually got tweeted out by DayZ themselves. Great channel, not only for BAMs. Yeah. He definitely deserves more viewers. Simple and useful. So please, Go check this guy out. Hey, McFarlane. Sorry, go back to it. But yeah, I had a brief look at his YouTube channel, and he's got some pretty interesting stuff there.
Yeah, I was flicking through some of his videos. He's got some nice how-tos. Really, really
DayZ
good.
Beginner, new
Beginner's
top
guides.
10 tips I wish I'd known, and 10 more tips and tricks. Now, there's other people doing these videos, but the more that are doing them, the better that there is for everyone. We were talking before about how steep the learning curve is, so it's always good to, especially someone who's got them relatively recently, 1 month, 2 months ago, so they're in the current patch and that, with these tip guides for people. These tip guides are great videos. So I generally watch them, and I find I learn something, even with 7,000 plus hours. There's always something that never realised that.
Absolutely, and they're one of the reasons why Wobo got so big as well, isn't he? Because he would always do like 60 tips
Bonus
on the new
tip.
patch. Yeah, so
I love Wobo.
it's a great way to start.
And the other one is another Aussie streamer who seems to be really taking off. This time, though, it's a female. Shazza. Such an Aussie fucking name as well. Such an Aussie name. And she sounds like, Twitter.com, Nat Aussie. Let's find a clip from her so you can see what she's about.
Maybe you should do a collab.
It's very hard for me because I play weird times and...
Okay, now I'm back. Sorry.
Here we go. I just love her reactions. It's great watching these people who, when they're in PvP, it's truly thrilling. Like, I love watching the people who are god tier as well, but I much prefer watching someone who is, just living the moment. That moment is the most thrilling moment they've played, and
Very good. Takes you back.
She's definitely one to keep your eye on as well. So let me just go back. Here's a link to her channel. Chuck her a follow. You definitely won't regret it. She's a lot of fun to watch. Very good energy and positive vibes, which we're all about here as well, even though people call us the drama podcast.
Okay, now I'm back. Sorry. Let's go. I'm really sorry about that.
Okay, Shazza.
See how...
DayZ Twitter was actually quite active this last week. Did you guys notice that as well?
Yeah, they were shouting out quite a few creators, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to see. So they had they're sharing Jippy's channel.
Don, they shared, didn't they? His
Don's
airdrop.
video about airdrops, which was amazing to see. Just general questions like this. I'm really, really happy to see them being more active, and I hope they stay like this, because that's probably been one of the criticisms. Is they're kind of they seem to have good days and bad days, or good weeks and bad weeks, good months and bad months marks, where they're very active and then they disappear, and they're very active and then they disappear, and it's like
Yeah, well, you know the way it is. Like, some weeks on DayZ can be quiet in the community, and then some other weeks can be, more active and stuff. So, some weeks they mightn't have anybody to tweet out. I know there is tons of people who stream the game and stuff, but they might have an agenda or a list of people they go through or stuff. But it's nice to see that they're more active and shouting out the smaller channels out there.
Definitely. So keep it up. We love seeing you guys be more active, and interacting with the community is probably the big thing as well. Sharing content, replying to people, and Keep it up. I know it must be fucking hard when every single person replies something along the lines of fix your game, fix cars, what about console, when's console getting a winter map, and all the rest of the sort of stuff. But yeah, keep it up. Good for everyone. So we are now down to individual highlights, and we'll start with our guest, ScaleSpeeder. What have you got for us, mate? What's been your spotlight of the last week?
My stuff, well, we kind of talked about it earlier on, actually, was Balshad and Reaver's Discords. Because although I've obviously got lots of videos about doing stuff and how to do it, almost every single time I've got to do something, I go back to Balshad's Discord or Reaver's Discord and I go, God, how on earth do you do that again? And I'll go through and I'll read their instructions and do that. So I know you've put the links in the chat already, but definitely if you can, subscribe to Balshad's YouTube, but especially his Discord. That's where you want to go. You want to go to Balshad's Discord and you want to go to Reaver's Discord, because they'll teach you things about XML modding and some PC modding as well that you'll be amazed at what you can do. But also, what they both got, and Balshad's especially got as well, is pre-made packs as well. Because although we talk about learning how to do stuff and this is how you create events, I'm a big believer in the pre-made pack as well, where look, all you've got to do is upload these XMLs to your server, and restart your server, and that's it. And then you can log in and you can play. And Balshad's got some amazing ones, and Reaver as well. Where there is a deathmatch server, where there is a hardcore server, where there's a pack. If you want to have a racetrack at Northwest Airfield with cars and fuel, all that sort of stuff, it's there, and you can just upload it. It all works, and you don't have to worry about changing events and XMLs and putting a square bracket in the wrong place or anything like that. So definitely my highlights are those two guys, Balshad and Reaver's Discords for modding on console and PC as well. So yeah.
And what about you, Marks?
I haven't watched much content this week, but the one I have watched was Don Sibley's videos on the airdrop mod and stuff like that. Just Don in general. I know past couple of weeks he's been just cranking out whether it be Rust gameplay or DayZ modding gameplay or stuff for constant stuff. It's just been great to see that he's doing it, and I'm glad he's a lot more active on YouTube now and stuff as well. And he's streaming on YouTube and he's doing great there. So it's nice to see, and I hope he keeps it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And mine is for something that is happening next week, folks. I have coming up on the screen now the times, but I will be interviewing Martin from Taviana Origins. A lot of people talking about the Taviana map. Usually when we start talking about maps on DayZ, it's one of the maps that everyone says, oh, we need Taviana for DayZ. We need a Taviana map. Not going to happen, folks. And why? Because there's actually a game being made around the Taviana map called Taviana Origins. And I'm going to be doing a spotlight interview with Martin at the times in your local areas as shown below. So it's an early start for me that morning. 4 a.m. Better make sure I don't sleep in like I did this morning, hey? But yeah, I'm excited for this one because it's a map. I never played it, but it's a map that for everyone seems to be some sort of, like the gold standard of DayZ modded maps. And did you ever play it, Marks?
Yeah, I played Taviana a bit. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great. It would be nice to see it, but if he's making his own game on it, that's understandable.
Did you know they were making a game for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know. A lot of people don't know. So that's part of why I want to shine the spotlight on it. They have a website where you can go to
I don't know much about it. I know games being made, and that's it.
Here's where you can find out a bit more about it if you're interested, folks. TavianaTheOrigins.com. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. Going to be a challenging one for me because I don't know much about it. But yeah, should be good. Should be very, very good.
What I would do if you want to get a bit of knowledge about the map or whatever, or just want to see it. I know Frankie on PC years ago done some videos on it.
Yep.
His DayZ Arma 2 series. I'd go and watch them if you have a bit of spare time. And it'll show you off the map a bit as well. It was really cool map.
It looks beautiful. It looks absolutely stunning. You know, I've watched this video before, and I'm starting to understand why so many people are hyped about it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And kudos to them for, you know, hopefully this game takes off. You know, it'd be yet another game that has, you know, tied its success to DayZ. You know, DayZ's been behind so many amazing games out there, and yeah, whether it just be the inspiration for or, you know, directly from, and yeah, great to see.
Yeah, cool for certain.
And the legendary Taviana Island. Choco, stop doing caps lock. I'm certain you do it just to troll us all. Okie dokie, folks. ScaleSpeeder, great to finally get you on the show, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Can you go and give Don Sibley's photo a quick kiss for us, mate?
Give him a quick squeeze.
I love that you put that up there, mate. I do. But Don is a a guy who deserves to be. You know, we say this a bit about a lot of people, but he deserves to be about 10 times the size his channel. He does so much good work for the DayZ community.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just going to do a quick food review while we were.
Oh, what's this? What are we eating?
We've got Tesco's finest salted caramel sauce.
Oh,
Excellent.
Out of 10?
Unbelievably good. 12.
Oh,
Superb.
Wow.
Yeah,
salted
fantastic.
caramel sauce.
Absolutely marvellous stuff. Yeah, so thanks for having me on. It's been a real honour. And yeah, it's been great fun as well, Marks and Boydie.
Yeah, that's been good.
Superb work you guys are doing. Absolutely superb work.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Very, very good.
And guys, we do read the comments on the videos. Marks reads them on his highlights videos. I read them on the podcast when I upload them and that. And you know, it's just it is nice to get feedback about it. It helps motivate us to keep doing this every week. We only have a small audience coming to watch it live, but that's fine. We don't care. We do this because it's a passion project. We love DayZ, even though it frustrates the fuck out of us at times. Hey, Marks.
Yeah, you could say that on it.
It's still an amazing game, and there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. Now, next week, folks, we have a players episode again, and we have my mate Luke 5G coming on and Luvu. So 2 players. No one, you know, who creates videos or something like that, because we took that feedback on board that we need to talk to the players as well. And ScaleSpeeder, you left too early. Waved away. Bye-bye. But yeah, really, really excited and looking forward to it. It should be a good episode, Mark. So if you've got anything you want us to discuss next week, as always, join the podcast Discord, and we will see you in the podcast. All the best and ciao for now. Say bye, Mark.
See you later.
Bye-bye.